goes a little something like.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 16 of the Ballrooms and Bachelors Podcast, where we talk about our experiences as ballroom dancing students, dancing with the stars, and all things Bachelor. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Camille.
So today on the show, we're going to be talking about, of course, dance this week for us. We had quite a bit of things happening. It's been pretty quiet at the studio, but we've had still quite a few things happening. On Monday, Camille had a coaching with one of our kind of East Coast directors, Ilya. And so she'll be talking about that. Just like we do every week, we're going to be talking about our group classes. Also, again, talking about our November competition prep. And then last week we had talked about that I did my midterm today, the day we're recording this. And I'm going to be talking about how that went. We're also going to be talking about this week. We had 2 episodes of Dancing with the Stars, which is quite a journey to watch, which is really interesting. Like, we usually have 6 hours of TV to watch. Now we had 8. So it was definitely a really interesting thing, but it was fun. So we're going to be talking about prom night and your night on Dancing with the Stars, there was so many amazing dances and things that happened on those episodes. So we're going to be recapping those 2 episodes, as well as the weekly 2-part Bachelor in Paradise episode. So we'll be talking all about that.
Okay, so I can get started. So I know we have a lot of things to discuss. I don't know how long the episode's going to be. Just remember, we have been putting the timestamps on the episodes now. So if you want to just jump around and listen to some different things, but also make sure that even if you don't listen to the whole episode, make sure you go and listen to the end for any reminders or anything. So on Monday I had a coaching lesson with Ilya, one of our the East Coast directors, and I had my lesson with Yuri and he came to do the coaching. So we were working on Latin. So I'm not doing Latin for that November competition, but I had some coaching lessons paid for. And sometimes for those of you that are not involved with the studio, the instructors sometimes teach at multiple studios. So to get the coach there on the same day that your instructor is there, to get them to work on the style you want to work on, sometimes doesn't always work out well. So it was a day that Ilya was going to be in the Glen Rock studio that I already had a lesson scheduled with Yuri. So I was like, perfect, let me do the coaching because, it just was a good timing. And I'm not competing anytime soon, but we are trying to do some new routines and just like clean up some things from like previous competitions. So it was really good. We focused a lot on just where I need to look during the performance, because I think a lot of the times we've spoken about, even with the stuff with Charlie, like a few weeks ago about the eye contact and all of that. And I was explaining to Ilya too, I'm like, I can perform to an audience. That part is fine. It's the fact that I have to you have to also do sometimes where you're doing the facial expressions and stuff. It's like more like you're looking down and you're more like into yourself or whatever, or you're looking with your partner or looking at your partner. So we went over how dancers have to specifically go through the routine and understand like where they're looking and being intentional about it. And then it's also like practicing that. So we went through the beginning of my cha-cha because there's a whole beginning part that's all by myself. And it's like, when am I looking forward at the audience? When am I doing something different? When am I looking this way at the audience? When am I looking at Yuri until this point to this point? So we went over that, like just that whole beginning. And it was a lot of work. So it will probably be at least like 3 to 4 months until I compete again. So but it was good to go over that. And I don't know, I don't think you've ever had a coaching with Ilya, right?
I haven't, no, but it sounds like, but again, I'm sure you got a lot out of it. And obviously Ilya is such a good teacher and he just is so detailed and intricate. So I bet it was awesome. And it's awesome to hear that that you were able to work on your Latin, even if you're not like actively going to compete in it, because I know that's so important for me as well.
I think the other thing, like I've worked with him before with my previous instructor, and we would go over like paso and all that, and right now we talked about how I'm trying to make my dances a little more open golds rather than the closed golds choreography, and it's very different. I don't need to get into the whole like details of that, but generally speaking, we're really only changing a few of the choreographies to more open gold type dances, and we're keeping my cha-cha relatively the same. So it's still mostly a closed gold choreography, but that's why I think it's almost more important that we're trying to work more on the performance for it, because I'm keeping the choreography the same. Cha-cha is also the first Latin dance you do when you go out there for the round, as you know. So it's really good. think to, I
No,
know
exactly.
it's a good
totally
thing to make a
agree.
good first impression with like the first dance of like the rounds that you're doing when you're doing like a championship or a scholarship. Like if you're
Yeah.
going out there with a good solid cha-cha and the performance at the right, like at the very beginning of the cha-cha,
Yes.
that helps. So it was good. And I know we do have Andra's coming back again the
Mhm.
week before the November competition. So again, even though I won't be competing a lot, and I'm planning to do a coaching with her.
Yeah,
So
me too. Well, actually,
yeah.
it probably will be my first coaching, which should be
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, because I know Elena was saying there's no master class this time. So we're
No,
just
exactly.
doing,
Yeah.
or well, probably not. So I think we're just trying to get coachings in. So I'm excited. I'm really excited here.
No, I am too. And I heard that Andra is just so good.
Mhm.
I think everybody
She's great.
just is like so impressed and so just so inspired by her. And Elena was telling me that she really encourages me, or really has encouraged me to do a coaching before the competition, because she was
Mhm.
like, it would be really good to have a championship style pro come and see our routines. Because obviously when you have your instructors come in and stuff like that, because I've had like Yuri and David and watch my routines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like when you have kind of like an outsider come in
Mhm.
and watch your routines, it's definitely really fun. And I've never done that before. And I've been telling her I wanted to do it, but obviously like financially, sometimes they can be a little like
Yeah.
challenging to do
Yeah.
on top of the competition. So that's why I haven't been able to do them yet, or at least have like been saving to try to do one.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely gonna I'm like 100% gonna do one with
Mhm.
her, just because I know Elena has been wanting to have a coaching for our routines, and
Yeah.
just the perfect person to do that. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's also for you, it's the right time to do it, because I mean, right before it always seems like, oh, it's right before the competition, but it logistically it's better because they're already there for the competition. So they just
Yeah.
tack on a few extra coachings for them.
And she's coaching too.
Yeah. Did you have a coaching with Yuri the other day too?
I had a mini one, yes, for
A
like
mini coaching.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can get more
Because
into that when I like go into my dance stuff, but yeah, I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
just
want to
because
I don't want to interrupt you.
no, that's fine. Well, so okay, the next thing so that was really it with Ilya. And then I just remembered about Andre coming. So then we had the group classes Monday. We did the contemporary class, which was cool. We did oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking now.
I'm trying to think
What?
too. I know, I don't know. Hang on.
It was more of like a Latin style.
Yes.
Was it Adele?
Yes, it was
Elena's
the
gonna yell
Adele
at us when
song.
she
Yeah,
listens to this back. It
yeah,
was every week rolls into the next one. I think it was.
exactly. Yeah, I know, me too. It was not like I Believe song. Or
Oh
was that
yes,
last
yes,
week?
yes. It's I believe. Yeah, that's what we did.
That's
No,
what
it
it
was this
was.
week
Okay. That's
because
what
she
I
was
thought.
saying it was more Roomba, and she was like, "Well, too bad we didn't do this one when they came to film
Yes, yes.
the with the marketing team, because they probably would have liked more Roomba style." But whatever, it's fine. It was interesting. We were trying to do more like some of the Roomba steps, like barefoot, and then we were
Right.
practicing just. We weren't practicing it for Roomba. We were practicing for contemporary, but she was talking about how just in general it's also good for the Latin. So that class was great. And then we again went over our formation dance, and the beginning of it, the middle, like end, all of it, and it's really coming together. I think we're starting to get the fuller picture. It's like we can run it start to finish, and now it's just like cleaning up things. So we're really just solidifying that. So that's exciting.
It definitely is. I agree about the contemporary class, because I know a lot of our friends have been talking about this, and I totally agree. Agree with it. That I feel like the contemporary class, I'm so glad we've been doing it, because I've noticed that the contemporary class has also helped me with my other dances and the other styles that I do. Like just kind of with flexibility and with different things like that. And so I'm hoping, I don't know if Elena's planning on keeping it for next month, but I really did try to say if we could. Yeah, what'd you say?
We want you to.
Yeah, like, Elena,
she's
please.
listening.
We do. If you're listening, because we know you watch, we'd love to at least keep it another month. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I did say to her as well, I was like, if we do contemporary another month, that'd be amazing. But maybe after that, we could change it back to a hip hop class, because we haven't done hip hop for like 6-7 months, and I think that'd be a fun thing. So it's still like a non-ballroom style, but still like a fun kind of different style that we could do. So I think that would be fun. Yeah, I thought that was class is fun.
I think she also was asking about like a stretch class. I would totally be interested in that.
Yeah,
I mean,
would too.
I just in general need to stretch more, but maybe I need a little bit of accountability right now. And maybe it will be good.
No, exactly. I totally agree. We did that mobility class, I think June and July of the summer.
I never got to go.
Much, yeah. But that was really helpful for me when we did that class. So I think the stretching class would be fun too. But yeah, the contemporary class has been so much fun.
Yeah, so that was all our classes on Monday. How was Bachata Tuesday?
Bachata
was not
Tuesday
there.
was awesome. I'm trying to, again, just like contemporary, I'm trying to remember what we did. Um, Again, that's what we did. We David came up with a routine last week, and we continued it this week, and then we
Mhm.
added some things this week. We were doing a lot of kind of different intricate things where we do the
Yeah.
basic, and then we do like pivots around each other, and then we do I'm trying to think exactly. We do a few underarm turns, and then we do this thing where we're like, again, I forgot what it is. It's really hard for me to explain when you don't, when you like when
Yeah.
you don't see it, but or you're not doing it. But it's a lot of like leg movements and a lot of like kicks and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And then there's this thing where we go like side to side or front to back. And we kind of like the guy or the leader holds on to the followers like shoulder and side, and then we
Mhm.
kind of do the basic or left and right, and then we do like a body roll backwards. I know that's the way that we ended it this week, and I think we did last
Yeah.
week as well. So it's been just kind of adding on to what we did last week. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to go for the bachata class
Oh, that'd
because
be
it's
awesome.
before
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Halloween party. So
yeah.
I'll probably go for that.
No, that'd be amazing. It's
In my
funny actually
costume.
you bring that. No, that's exactly right. That's what I was actually gonna bring up is like the costume. I'm not trying to give away too many secrets of my costume. I'm not even like because I told Elena about it, or I was like, this is what like I didn't tell her about the costume, but I told her kind of the theme around it,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'm never gonna guess it, so I'm gonna be interested to see like what it actually is. But the
Mhm.
thing is, like the only hint I've been giving people is like it's a pretty long like detailed process for me to actually what the costume is going to be in full.
Yeah.
So I'm most likely going to have to come to the class like 2/3 in the costume. So it's going to be really funny to like do the class in my costume, or at least
I'm
2/3 in the costume, which is going to be kind of funny. But yeah, that'll be really fun.
I'm just thinking of things typically me when I'm taking notes.
No.
Anyway, yeah, okay.
Um,
I mean mine I'm looking forward to seeing yours. Mine is
is it the one that you told me about?
that frog thing.
Oh, that's
So I don't
amazing.
know. My friend just posted this thing on Instagram of this like there's like this frog cartoon or something, and
Yeah.
it was just really funny because in the one picture the frog is wearing these like black heeled boots, and I
Oh
have a
yeah.
pair of black heeled boots that I wore and that I bought, I think from like Fashion Nova. It's probably like the only thing I've ever bought from that store that I will probably ever buy from that store because I did a showcase. I'll probably have to post this on the page too.
Yeah.
Um, I did a showcase to You Don't Own Me,
Yeah.
and I wore these boots.
Yeah. I
So
saw
David
that.
and I
Yeah.
always have this joke. I mean, I've worn them for different things. David and I always have this joke because I'm like, I bought these boots. I don't really have many places I can wear these boots where it's appropriate. So
That's
sometimes we
really
just make a
funny.
joke of like, we just need to find reasons for me to wear the boots.
Exactly.
So I wore them to a party a few when we did the cops and robbers party.
Oh, right.
I
Right.
did that because I was the um robber. Yeah.
That was
And
funny.
then
That was great. Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I put them on, and that was like when I was redoing my showcase as a demo, like or as a performance, like for the party after
Mhm.
the stage showcase, and that outfit was insane.
That's
Just
amazing.
like
It's
it was
really
because
funny.
then
I
I
love
didn't
that.
realize I was doing that, so I had to take the boots off, put my other shoes on, and then wear this outfit that looked so bizarre out of
No,
context.
exactly. That's
Anyway,
amazing.
so I was just so it's like now I'm gonna wear the boots for the
Yeah,
Halloween just because I saw this picture and they wearing these black boots, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna imitate this thing. So I
that's
will post that and I'll share it. I don't know.
great. I can't
I
wait to
think
see it.
I think my costume just shipped today. I don't know.
That's amazing.
I
I'm
have
so
very
excited
bizarre
to see it.
Halloween
I
stuff.
think we're gonna go all out. I think
Yeah.
Glen Rock's gonna go all out for the Halloween party. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I have to I'm gonna like before all right, after this episode post, I'm gonna have to post a picture with the boots and then I'll post the
yes,
Halloween picture. That's what I'm
yes,
writing
yes,
down.
exactly. I'll remind you.
Yeah.
But actually, I had a thought going back to the Monday class before we go on to
Yes.
the classes. Just because I had a thought pop in my
Hmm.
mind about it, is I totally agree with you about the like what I want to say about the formation dance.
Yeah.
Um, I really think it's coming together really well, and I'm really
Hmm.
excited about it. It's funny because Elena, obviously, like not only is she like been kind of in charge of the dance along with Yuri, um, she has been like running the class almost every week when
Yeah.
Yuri's usually in a lesson, or if he's not, they're like kind of doing double
Yeah.
duty with teaching the class. But it's just she really has like everybody together, which I've noticed she's really good at kind of having everybody organized, because she'll like make sure that everybody is doing the things that they need to be doing and feel confident and comfortable in it. So I've been happy about that. And that's actually and that's very impressive because of
Yeah.
how many people are doing the dance. And then there's so many different parts of the dance. I know
Yeah.
it's gonna be a secret, but with there's so many different moving components and parts, it definitely is like a tight ship that everybody that Elena and Yuri are running, but it's really it's definitely going to pay off, and I'm really excited about it. I just wanted to say that because I remember
Yes.
I just think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And like I keep saying, everybody's gonna love the dance.
They are.
So with that,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so then today, Thursday, then I went to the arm styling class because I had a lesson with David before that.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
it was the first time I went to the arm styling class, and it was very good. And we were practicing this way and then up,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
arm just disappears because of the thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was working on all of that. So it was really good. And then I didn't stay for the smooth class, but
Yeah.
because I had to come home and finish watching the show before we
Yes.
started recording. But how was the smooth class?
The smooth class was great, and just going back to the arm styling class, it was really cool because I was actually able to wear my new
Oh,
Latin
that's right.
shoes
Yes.
for the arm styling class. It's the first time I've ever worn them, like besides the time I tried them on.
Yeah.
And they definitely, the thing is, obviously all dancers probably know, especially with ballroom shoes, they're very tight at first, and like when you have to break them in. And so they definitely felt very tight, but they look really cool and they feel really good. So I'm excited to actually compete in them. But so that was a lot of fun. And I've definitely been getting more comfortable with the arm styling as well, which is great because it's perfect timing in time for the competition.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And then smooth tonight. We did the final smooth dance since it's the last week of this class, and we did waltz.
Is it?
It's the last week. No, it's not the last week. I don't know if we'll repeat one.
No, you have one more week.
Yeah, we have one more week. That's right. I just know we've done all 4 of the smooth dances, so I'm assuming we'll either repeat one or maybe add on to this routine. That's the thing. Because if we were doing standard, we would have one more dance. But with smooth, there's only 4. So we did the 4th tonight, which is waltz. And it was really fun. We did a lot of cool, just kind of basic waltz combinations. We kind of just did the basic waltz basic, and then did some of the arm styling stuff with the like opening out and stuff like that in the waltz, which was really fun. And it's really hard. Like it's, I'm assuming you know this because you do standard. But it's really interesting because that opening out part in waltz, I know it's not in standard, but I'm sure you've seen it. But that the opening out part in standard or in smooth waltz, you kind of are alternating feet, but doing the arm like at the same time. So it's kind of like you're doing 2 things simultaneously on opposite sides of your body. And so like when your inside foot is when your inside foot is moving, your arm on the other side is the one doing the arm styling thing, and it's like coming around your body at the opposite time of your foot, like arriving on like the opposite side. And so it definitely is a challenge, but it really is a lot of fun, and the arm styling looks really cool and really smooth. So we did that tonight. I'm interested to see what we do next week because, like I said, we did the 4th smooth dance tonight. So I'm interested to see if we do another thing with waltz or just repeat one of the ones we did already. But yeah, the smooth class has been so much fun, and everybody has been like telling me, it's like, oh my gosh, you're getting so good at smooth already. And I was like, I really appreciate that because it's so hard. And I definitely think it's going to be it's been such a huge benefit for me because like I had mentioned before, I think Elena had told me that 1 or 2 weeks after the competition, we're going to kind of slowly start introducing standard into my dances, which I'm really excited about. But I think this class, especially just kind of with the frame and the footwork and posture and stuff like that, since it's so different than my Latin dances, I think it's a huge benefit to me in terms of getting ready for me to start learning standard and being in it. So it's just not like I'm going into learning standard and not having any idea what it is. So I think that will be real. It definitely is a huge help to me, and those classes are really enjoyable anyway. I think everybody seems to have really enjoyed them.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I said to David, I was like, I'm not staying for smooth class. I was like, I had a lesson with him for standard, but no, I think it is very helpful. And I think because I saw a little bit of it because I was there a little bit after the class. I saw you guys starting, and I think he does it in a good way because then it gives you the opportunity to like, because I think sometimes it's not just like going over the steps, but I think it's just now that you're in the class, like he's trying to teach you the leader position and then the ladies the follow position. So just seeing that it's good. Like I really like that he does that with all of the styles.
Yes.
And it gives you that experience too.
Exactly. And you can, and again, you
Yeah.
can lead, in my case, leading, but again, whoever, like
Yeah.
whoever is leading or following, I
Mhm.
think it's so helpful because then he also like rotates or alternates partners. And so
Yeah.
like, you can have that experience of leading different people. And I
Yeah.
think that's really cool. So you can kind of like have that experience of like, hey, I
Yeah.
know each person for me is like, I'm going to lead them different and they're probably going to follow different. And
Mhm.
so the way that he actually intricate or makes that really intricate and really
Yeah.
incorporates that into the class, I think it's so helpful
Mhm.
for everybody for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then some
Um,
jive. And
so
that's
that
it.
was, yeah, and I won't be there for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to be determined. But
Be
we always,
determined about that. Yes.
it's always like, I'm sure it's just like same old eerie energy,
No,
Chad.
exactly. Same old Yuri energy. Exactly.
um
um, and then oh
yeah,
yeah.
November competition.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think, I don't know, really all I've done, I had a lesson with David this week, and just, being that we're less than a month away,
Mhm.
we made sure we did all 5 of the standard dances today, just because. So it's waltz, tango,
Viennese waltz, no, foxtrot,
yeah,
Viennese waltz,
Viennese waltz,
quick step,
foxtrot,
quick step.
and
Yeah.
quick step, because I always forget, because the first time
No, I do
I
too.
was thinking, I was like, wait, no, the 2 fast dances are not back to back, so I was like, you know
Yeah.
what. So I have the moment. No, so we, not that if anybody of my competitors are listening, but no, we did my waltz, we changed up a little bit, we added some extra, I'm still silver, we tried to add a little bit, change up the choreography a bit. So the waltz we changed a bit, the foxtrot we did not change, the um fox no, tango, hello, tango I kept the same, foxtrot I kept the same, the Viennese waltz I we added, like the only other thing I can add, because there's really not much you can do in Viennese waltz in standard. And then for the quick step, we changed my quick step, not like mostly entirely. I mean, there's a lot of similar things, we just changed the order around. Um, so yeah, so we did that, and then plus, because I think we talked about it in a previous episode, at the competition, the floor that we're going to be on in that room is smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
So David and I just kind of just made sure that we were doing the dance in a certain range of the room, so that way, like, so I know, like in the tango we took out a few of the extra like walks and stuff that we would use to like cover more space, that way we can kind of like shorten the distance on the, mostly on a long wall, not the short wall. So we just like went through that, so now we're kind of like, okay, we have all the dances set in the way that I need to do them for the competition, and then I
Yeah.
think next week we're going to start doing the rounds. And
Oh,
for
right.
those of you that don't know what the rounds are, it's when you'll go out there, I was like remembering the order, the couples will do the dances in that order, and then you could be out there for the 5 dances, I mean, it could be less than 5 dances also, but for the 5 dances, and you could be doing that many rounds. Like when I was talking about the rounds I'm doing, it's like, waltz, tango, Viennese, foxtrot, quick step, like again and then again and again. So that's the stamina piece. So we'll practice at least like a round of just those 5 dances in that order, and try to not really break. Just do like the normal break that you would have when you were doing the competition. So it's not just the stamina of getting through the dances, but it's also like the mental stamina of like,
Oh
I
yeah.
have to change from like one dance to the next dance, and it's like a
Yes.
different, waltz is different than tango, which is different than Viennese waltz, which is different than, even like the hold and everything.
Yeah.
I think it in standard it's a little bit more similar than even Latin. So Latin, it's like totally different, changing from dance
Yes.
to dance. But yeah, so we're planning to do that, and then I scheduled a few double lessons between now and the competition. So that's really all I've done this week, is like far as actual prepping. Yeah, what about you?
That's
You have
awesome.
a lot
Yeah.
more things you're prepping.
No, exactly. No, oh my gosh. But I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see you perform standard. I've never seen you perform standard, so I'm really excited.
thanks.
It's gonna be so amazing.
Yeah, I guess you
Because I
have.
just saw you do Latin in July.
Yeah.
I've seen you do Latin or standard like on videos, but not in
Yeah.
person. This is gonna be so exciting. I'm so excited to see you perform. But yeah, so on Monday I had my lesson, and just like you were saying, Elena and I actually did 2 rounds just back to back.
Yeah.
Because we just kind of wanted to start getting because we just wanted to start getting in the round, like again with the mindset, especially like you said with Latin, because it's like 2 quick dances, and then oh no, it's not. I don't know what is it. Cha-cha. Yeah, no, samba second. So
Cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso, jive.
also jive,
Sorry.
yeah. So no, exactly. Again,
Yeah.
it's when there's 5 dances, it's kind of hard to figure out
Yeah.
the order of them. But and I'm not doing paso this competition because we
Mhm.
haven't learned it yet. Hopefully,
right,
next
yeah.
year. Well, I know we're going to add it next year because we're planning on doing both standard and Latin fully next year, like in the middle of next year, competing wise. So
Mhm.
we'll add paso at some point. But so we have 4 dances, and there's like a little break for me since I don't do paso. But we just went through all 4 dances with cha-cha, samba, rumba, jive.
Mhm.
And it's nice because when you have the 2 fast dances, then you have like rumba to kind of calm down a little bit, which
Mhm.
is nice. But then rumba, you're very kind of, there's a lot of still like facial expressions, like you were saying, and stuff like that. So you still have to focus and everything. So we did that. We just went through the rounds and everything like that.
Mhm.
Like you had mentioned, Yuri came in and he was so funny. Again, just with that
Yeah.
Yuri energy, he came in and helped me with my what was it, with my posture, because with
Mhm.
the
Oh,
Latin
yeah,
posture it's so no exactly
Yeah.
with the Latin posture it's so difficult to keep, especially during the fast dances, because the Latin posture, just like smoother standard posture, it's very composed and
Mhm.
your chest is out and your head is back, and
Yeah.
it's not supposed to move from this position the entire
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
And the thing I've noticed about me is that when I'm really getting into the dance or really focusing, like halfway through the dance, I'll kind of start slouching like this.
Yeah.
And that's something we worked on. And this Yuri was so funny. He was like he was standing right next to me. And he was like, "Now you're a man." And like when I was standing up straight, and it was so hilarious. And it was so funny. And then Valeria was there too watching, so that was nice.
Okay.
So that was really cool to have them watch. And then there's this part of my rumba where Elena rocks around me and kind of
Mhm.
like I'm supposed to like look at her. That's when we're doing the what's the I'm blanking right now. We were just doing them tonight in the arm styling class that you're doing rumba.
Oh, the cucarachas.
Cucarachas. I was thinking of another word that ends with kachas too, and it's just like, and you
It
just
just
they all sound the same. They all
Yeah.
sound the same.
bachata, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about Chicanas.
That's
Yeah.
samba. Yeah.
Yes, that's samba. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But he was teaching me those. And because especially because like I was really I tended to slouch through half of those
Mhm.
or through some of it. And he wanted me to make sure that during those that I was like standing up straight and everything like that. But there's a part, like I said, where Elena walks
Mhm.
around me and I'm supposed to kind of like look at her while she's walking around me, and then I look at the audience while she's walking around me. And he was like
Yeah.
teaching me how to kind of, and then I don't want to give away my routine too much, but it's fine. I and then Elena is, when she gets around me, she stands like in front. When she gets around me, we do cucarachas, but we kind of like
Mhm.
I have like my hands like on her side, and we're both
Mhm.
going like kind of like doing cucarachas back and forth. But
Yeah.
when I'm doing a cucaracha one side, I'm turning her the opposite way, and so it's like
Yeah.
so it's kind of like we're opposites. Well, so like when I'm going this way, she's turning that way, and then when I turn this way, she's going that way. And he was teaching me kind of how to not confuse that, just because it can be easy to kind of do both at the same time, like turn
Yeah.
her while I'm doing the cucaracha on the same side, and that's not what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be opposite. So
Mhm.
he was helping me with that. And again, the Yuri energy is just great. It gives you so
Yeah.
much confidence. It's like he's amazing. So we did that, and then like I talked about last week, we officially started our showcase dance last week. I went to the beginning, and we officially officially got through the first like 35 seconds of the showcase
Yay.
this week. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Mhm.
The choreography this for this dance is so amazing so far. I'm just so excited. And I knew, because like I had said, and like we've talked about, Elena is such an amazing choreographer and storyteller that I just knew it was going to be amazing, but I just didn't know like what it was going to look like because I had never seen it.
Mhm.
Monday. It's just so great because it incorporates so many different styles. And she said she's still coming up with the last like minute and a half, I think. And we're gonna keep learning that just every week up until the competition. I think we're gonna try to have it finished like before the end of the month, or not before the end of the month, but before like the week before the competition. Just
Yeah.
so we have it kind of in the can, and then we're not stressing about it the week before, something like that. So it's just gonna be so amazing to see that finally kind of like be fully created, and the dance is so great, and I absolutely love it, and it's so much fun. So yeah, that's what we did in terms of my private lesson. And yeah, it's really going to be so exciting. I can't believe how close the competition is. It's crazy to me, especially like I said, that no, we have a lot, especially with the Saturday. We're doing the formation dance, and I'm also doing the showcase that night. And not even like 12 hours later, not even that, probably like 10 hours later, I'm competing in Latin the next morning. So it's like going to be crazy, but it's going to be so much fun. And
you have a crazy I think you're going to end up doing all of it in 24 hours because the formation dance probably, I'm guessing, might not be till like 4 or 5, maybe even like 6 o'clock. And then the Latin's probably going to be over by like 1 on Sunday. So like you're doing all of it in less than 24 hours.
Oh my gosh, less than 20. Exactly. And you know what? You're exactly right. Especially since like most of our parties don't start until 8 at the earliest.
That's what
I would assume that the showcase party when I'm doing my showcase is not going to start till 8. I don't know what time I'm doing the showcase, but it could be anywhere probably from 8:39 to like 10:30, 11. And then I'm probably gonna have to be up by 6:37 the next morning. And we start Latin at 8:30. So it's just gonna be like insane.
I need to get hair and makeup done because then that's when I usually gotta get up at like 5.
Exactly. I feel for you girls. It's like probably insane.
Yeah, I don't know. Thursday, I'm just like, I mean, I'm lucky because I'm going Thursday. Like I'm just going to drive there. So hopefully my hair and makeup time isn't like too bad. I'm just gonna drive there Thursday, do the standard, and then watch some of the social, and then I think I have an event that night, and then the next day I need to work, and then I'm gonna come back Saturday for the whole weekend. Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, I know it's coming. It's coming.
Exactly, it's coming, but it's gonna be amazing. I think it's probably gonna be one of the best competitions we've ever done. So it's gonna be amazing.
Do you have any other competition prep things, or do you want to just tell us about your midterm?
I could just tell you about my midterm just because again, pretty much just besides the showcase and just doing the rounds and getting the stamina up and muscle memory and stuff like that for the competition, that's pretty in preparing for that. That's pretty much it. So yeah, like I had mentioned last week, I have been working on my midterm performance for my jazz dance class, which has been really, really fun. And I officially performed it today. And I got 100 on it, which was so awesome. Like it was just thank you. I really appreciate it. I wasn't expecting it. Not that I wasn't expecting it, but it feels good to kind of get that recognition when you worked really hard on something. And everybody did amazing. Everybody's routines were great. And the cool thing that my professor was saying is that like each performance is different, which they were all totally different. All the songs were different, styles were different. So it was cool to kind of see everybody's like creativity. And it seems like everybody really liked, because I was kind of getting comments that were saying, oh, the ballroom steps look so cool, because I don't think a lot of people know what ballroom steps look like. So when I put some of my cha-cha and samba steps in it, I think they really liked it, which was awesome. And so it went great, and I couldn't have asked for it to go any better. And the cool thing about it is that the final, which we just found out about what that's going to be today, is coming up with a minute-long dance with whatever style you want to do. So I already know I'm going to do an entire Latin routine, like probably some stuff with my cha-cha routine, and then add some stuff to that. And I think that's going to be awesome. But I know exactly, like, since we talked about the rounds are usually like 1:10 anyway, so I'm used to kind of dancing for a minute. And so it's not like it's completely foreign. But the midterm was great. And I'm just so grateful for all the kind words. It was so much fun. Yeah.
The two things I'm going to say are, we need to get somebody you have to perform it for us in Glen Rock, your midterm, and we have to, it's going to be like, your final's going to basically be like when they had the solo dancers, the Italian solo dancers at AODC. That's going to be you doing your Latin.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So
that's exactly that's exactly what I was thinking. So that's going to be fun.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think that's a lot already, and let's get into Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So, Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, which was crazy.
2 episodes.
Like I mentioned, yes, 2 episodes. It was crazy. They threw that curveball right at the last week.
I'm just glad that this is the only week that they're doing the 2 episodes. I mean, we're kind of locked in for 6 hours a week until Thanksgiving, except there's like 1 week at the beginning of November that we don't have 2 episodes of Paradise, which I'm kind of grateful for, because we have a lot of extra mandatory rehearsals for the formation dance, and I think that's like one of the weeks of the rehearsals, so it's just going to be crazy. The week of the competition is going to be nuts with like filming and recording and whatever, but we'll be fine. We already started working it out. So anyway, all right, how about you kick us off with, I know you said you have 5 honorable mentions
Mhm.
instead of 4, but go ahead with
No,
that. And then
exactly. It's
next
just
week we have to cut it down.
well,
We'll
we
do
really
that.
do. And like last week, it's just like last week where like I wrote it down as an honorable mention before I had 5 or before I had 4, or no, when I had 4, and I was like, I really like this dance though, so I don't want to not include it. But I totally agree with you. It's just like you added at the last minute. So like I'm sure we can say something.
No, I'm just preparing.
Oh, okay. I know we have so much to talk
I
about.
just moved my hand.
I know I have so many notes on these 2 episodes, so it's gonna be a lot. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much to talk about, so much happened. Oh my gosh.
So many things.
Okay, so as probably every Dancing with the Stars fan knows or who watched, like we talked about, there's 2 episodes this week. On Monday's episodes, it was it was Most Memorable Year Night, which I absolutely always love. They've been doing it for a long time, and I always love that theme. It definitely kind of it makes you definitely get to see the stars in a more vulnerable and kind of openness sense, which I think is great to see. And not more as a competitor, but more kind of just as a human, which I think is awesome. And I absolutely love that. So yes, my first honorable mention for Most Memorable Year Night was Daniel and Britt, and they did a contemporary. And his most memorable year was 2019, which was the year that Coda came out. And I thought the dance was absolutely great, and I thought this was kind of like a rebound for him. Especially since, and I didn't even think the quick step was that bad. I know there were mistakes in it last week. I know Carrie talked about that. I don't think it was from like a lack of effort. Again, I just think it was just a really hard dance for him because he couldn't hear the music and the dance was just fast. So I thought this really he really came back and was like, you know what, I'm really going to work hard. And that's amazing. Again, I think he really leads very well. And that's something I noticed. The choreography with the ASO was like just so great. And I just think it really with Britt, she just is such an amazing partner. I know we've talked about this, but I don't think I don't think Daniel could have had a better partner than Britt. I just think she's just so amazing and so dedicated to him, and I just think that's amazing. He's very graceful when he moves, which is something I've noticed, especially with this dance. The lifts were great, and you know what? It was so awesome to see Gabe make an appearance.
I
so
have that note too.
That was great. I was like, let's go, Gabe. That's amazing.
Yeah. I want to see him dancing more though. I mean,
exactly.
he was signing the lyrics to the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Well, I expected him to be like, again, like you said, dance a little bit more because he's in the background when the dance started. So I was like, exactly, get in there. But I thought it was very moving, and I agree with Bruno that it felt very authentic and very real, and I thought his footwork was great. So yeah, I think it was a really, really good like bounce back dance for him, because I know he said he seemed pretty disappointed in terms of how his quick step went. And I just thought it was a really great dance overall. And I think, like we had talked about, you could never tell that you could never tell that he doesn't have any confidence. You could never tell that he like if you see him, you can tell he has confidence. That's what I'm meaning to say.
Yeah.
And like maybe with somebody who can't hear, you might expect that they maybe would have a little bit less confidence, or like maybe it might take them a little bit longer to do that, because obviously it might take them a little bit longer to do other things because they can't hear. But ever since week 1, he's had such an amazing confidence and kind of just overall energy about him that I absolutely love. So I thought the dance was great.
Yeah, I actually had him as one of my top dances.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was just so, I think it's I feel like it's hard because sometimes when you're looking at these more like technical dances and then you're looking at like a jazz or a contemporary, and then it's a little more free form. So I'm just like, I think when I look at the contemporary and the jazz, I feel like it's a higher chance that they are going to be like higher up on my, because I'm not like looking for a technical, I'm really just looking for like the emotion and the performance, and he really just delivered. And I thought just like the message that he wanted to really convey with that was so important, and it was just so much, it was just such a great dance that I loved it. I thought it was great. Everything, but they did a great job with all of it, and having Gabe on there and everything. So so I had him as one of my top, but
that's awesome. I
agree with everything else.
No, I could have had the exact same thing. It's just there was so many.
It's always so hard. I know.
It's always so hard because, again, like I had said, there's some dances in my honorable mentions that I could put in my top, and then it's so hard to pick because especially since we're limiting the number of each category. But it was so awesome to see him get 9s as well.
Yeah.
this week because he got 2 9s and 2 8s. So that was great. I was so happy for him.
Yeah. Okay. Who else did you have for honorable mention?
Okay, so next for me was Daniela and Joseph and Daniela with the rumba. So with Joseph and Daniela, like I had said, they did a rumba, and his year was 2022 this year, and that he really he was saying in his package that he really had kind of been like, obviously with Arnold Schwarzenegger being his dad, everybody was kind of comparing him to his dad. It was like, oh, you kind of got to follow his footsteps and everything like that, and you have to do this and you have to do this, and you like, even though he maybe wanted to do something different, and he said he really kind of wanted to listen to himself more and really live for himself and not try to kind of like be what everybody else wanted him to be, which I think is very inspiring. And I know that's something that we probably all have kind of struggled with and want to and really wanted to work on. And again, like I had talked about, this is something I've talked about over and over and over again. I think the strongest part of his dancing is his arms, which is very impressive to me with with how big he is and how big his arms are. I think that's so impressive. His hip action was really good. I thought it was great. I love that Danny gave him a few solos like at the beginning and the end. I think that was really cool. And that kind of gave him some confidence as well. I thought the storytelling was fantastic. I thought the choreo, obviously from Daniela, is always great. I agree with all the judges that said it was his best dance. I think it definitely was, hands down. It was very calm and had really good control, which I thought was really good. And it really seems, I definitely think all the stars do this, but I think he's one of the most noticeable ones, to where he really listens to the judges' comments and is like, you know what, I'm going to take this to heart, and I'm going to like really focus on the things that the critiques they told me to work on. And you can see it kind of like play out in the next week's dance. So like if they told him to work on his footwork, you can see his footwork improve the next week. And so that's something I've really noticed from him. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, my mom loves him so much, and I was like, all right, not to go spoil it if you don't see it, but I would hope if you're watching this, you've seen it, and like you obviously know he goes home in the Tuesday night episode, and like my mom was so not happy that he went home, and neither am I.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that more later.
We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later. But I agree, his rumba was great. It was one of his best dances at that point. And not that I'm like totally plugging this on this right now, but no, I mean the whole message of like following like your own journey as opposed to like what everybody else has kind of expected you to. I mean, I know I've probably mentioned this to you like a bit, but I've had this other like blog book like idea thing that I've been trying to get going for so long, that I have this phrase that I came up with many years ago called "Follow Your Heart, Not Tradition." And I do have a page for it on Instagram.
Go follow it.
but yeah, I mean, I have not posted that much on it. I kind of was posting stuff like a little over a year ago. It kind of like backtracked a lot of things, and then we started this, but I'm going to get back to it eventually. But the thing is like I just love that message too. So I think it's just another reason that I am happy to see him doing well. And it's just like some of these people you don't really like know about until they come on the show. And it's I really care very much about, like kind of following his journey a little bit more after the show, like just in his life outside of dance. Just because like I think it's just cool to see other people that like have that same belief, So anyway, that's the side note.
Exactly.
But yeah, he was in my honorable mentions too, and I thought his rumba was great.
Awesome.
Yeah. So who else did you have?
So next for me was Heidi and Artem, and they also did a rumba. And the year for her was 1997. It was kind of her becoming a model in New York City, because I think she had said she's from Louisiana, like a small town.
Yeah.
And so obviously kind of moving from Louisiana to the big city of New York and kind of making it as a model is probably a huge change. And so she kind of that belief she had in herself, that's what she kind of wanted to portray in the dance. I thought her hip action was also really great. And I completely agree with Derek that her legs and her leg placement and foot placement were so awesome, and it was really precise and so clean. And that he also said that she's come so far since week one, which I completely agree with as well. I thought her arms were fantastic. I agree that she's been really working and growing so much, which is awesome to see, especially since we had talked about it in week 2, where she said she was almost going to quit the competition. And I'm glad that she didn't let that get to her, because it's been awesome to see her like continue to grow. and I thought her posture was awesome, and it really seems like her confidence has really kind of become more prevalent in her life, and especially with dance, and it's so awesome to see that as well.
Yeah. I didn't have her in my honorable mention, but like it was good. I did like the performance, and I mean, a similar thing, but like just it was like a big year for her. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite in general of hers.
Yeah.
I thought that Joseph's Roomba was a little bit better.
No, I agree with
memory
you.
serves me correctly because everything.
No, I agree
together.
too.
But yeah, but it was good. I mean, everybody's improving, so like I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she got higher scores than Joseph, which is interesting.
Probably.
Yeah, because Joseph got 2 8s and 2 9s, and Heidi got all 9s. So
yeah, I think I remember that too.
Yeah,
I know. Part of me was just like, because I kept thinking every week, I was like, oh no, let me look at who scored higher. I was like, no, Camille, go based on what you felt like you liked better.
No, exactly.
I'm like, oh.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I was really interesting, like how the judges, like what they base their scores on, because again, they have so many things they have to base it on, which is insane.
I think they need to base it on some balance of technical and performance, in my belief. That's what I feel like it should be based on, and I think that's what they kind of relatively base it on. But I think they also kind of like, as the weeks go on, they're like, well, I'm not giving a 10 to a week, whatever, I think that was definitely a thing.
Exactly.
Anyway, all right, who else did you have for honorable mentions?
Okay, cool. So my next one is Shangela and Gleb, and they did a foxtrot. And her year was 2013, because she had a really serious leg injury, which is insane, and I can't even imagine how like painful and scary that is. And she was talking about her mom was like her biggest champion through that, and it was so awesome to see her in the audience, kind of to get to see her do that dance. I thought it was a really kind of inspiring dance, and just really was very emotional. And like I had said, this was the first time that we really got to see her in an emotional kind of softness dance, because all the other dances she's done in the competition so far have been very, very like upbeat and showcasing her personality and her energy and confidence and all that. It was the first time we really kind of seen her vulnerable, which was really cool to see. I thought she was really graceful. I thought the storytelling was awesome. I thought the frame was good for the most part, but I did agree with I think it was
shoulders.
Yeah, with the shoulders. I don't know who said it, but I think it was Bruno or Len.
Len or Derek.
Yeah, I thought it was Len or Derek. Okay, yeah, one of them. But I do agree about that. I'd say about like 2/3 of the dance, the frame was good, but then like you said, the shoulders kind of tended to come up at some time. But besides that, it was okay. And I thought her leg work was really good. I thought there's no doubt that she has the best confidence, like I think, on the show. You can I just love in like the packages of like, I just love how she's like always hyping herself up. She's like, no ma'am, we're gonna go in this, we're gonna kill and everything. It's just so awesome. I love her. It's so great.
And
I thought the choreo was great too.
Yeah, so she was saying how she has a titanium rod in her leg after that.
It's crazy.
That injury and surgery. I agree about the frame. She was also in my honorable mentions, and I thought same thing. I think honestly it was the best technique we've seen from her.
Yes.
Even like compared to the Tuesday dance, I think that this was the best technique dance I've seen. Yes. Obviously the performances are always great, but I know, and then the interview part, she's like, I'm not trying not to cry, I put on bottom lashes. I know. And I was just like, oh, she just always knows the right thing to say about every topic, and I love it. And she says it in such a positive, unifying, uplifting way. Yes, and I love her energy so much.
Thank you so much.
And we'll rave more about her about Tuesday. So yeah. So who else did you have an honorable mention?
So I had one more, and I'm assuming how many do you have left? It seems like I've had a few different ones.
Two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have one more, and this is one I added at the last minute, and I'm not sure if people might come at me because of this or be like, well, why did you put this in your honorable mentions? Like it wasn't the best technical.
I might know. Yeah.
You think you might know? Okay.
Yeah, go.
What'd you say?
No, go.
Oh, okay.
I'll see if I'm right.
So my last honorable mention was Vinny and Coco, and they did a jazz routine, and like again, like this is why I put in the honorable mentions, because exactly. And the reason I put it in there was because I just thought it was just like the judges said, it was such like a fun kind of simple dance, but it really kind of showcased his personality. But that was the thing when they showed the package and they were talking about the whole Jersey Shore thing, and they were going to pick a Jersey Shore song. I wasn't expecting it, especially when they announced it or said it was going to be jazz. I was kind of going into it not expecting that much kind of technicality to it, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, so I'm not, that's why I don't think it's that, like, it's kind of, oh, it's weird that I put it in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I was expecting technicality and there wasn't. But I thought the choreography was really fun. And I thought you can really tell how seriously he's taking it, even if he kind of like hides it. And that's what I absolutely love about him, because you can tell how hard he is on himself. And he's, you know what, I'm going to keep going. And that's like, he's another person that really takes the judges' comments to heart and really like listens to them. I think Coco has been such an amazing pro through this season. And it's been so awesome to see her grow. And you can see how just, again, serious she's taking her role as well and really trying to teach Vinny. Again, like, was it the best or was it the most technical dance? No. But again, like you were talking about with like kind of contemporary, or not contemporary, but with like jazz in Charleston and all that kind of stuff, the technicality is a little bit kind of less in terms of like not like a traditional ballroom or Latin dance or something like that. And then like you said, the fist pump thing during the skybox was really funny. I thought that was really cool.
Well, I kind of had him I don't have him as my honorable mention, but I did kind of have him there, and then I was like trying to clean it up and pick. I did really enjoy it, like as a performance, and I do. I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think collectively, it was like it wasn't. It was not like one of his best ones.
No, yeah.
So I think that's why I was kind of just like, it wasn't like I didn't feel like keeping it as like an honorable mention type thing. But for me. But that's go ahead. No, what were you saying?
That's the exact reason, like same thing, is that like they were the last couple or the last like honorable mention I added. And I was originally, because like we were talking about having 4 each, and I originally didn't have them in it, but I just loved it like a lot as a performance and really enjoyed it a lot as a performance. Like even like, again, technicality or not, I just thought performance wise it was a lot of fun. And I was like, you know what, I think that's kind of what embodies the honorable mention. It doesn't have to be the best technically or include a lot of technique, but it can be just a really enjoyable dance. And I thought that was a very enjoyable dance.
So the other 2 I had for honorable mentions, I had Jordan and Brandon.
Okay.
They did the salsa.
Yes.
It was about, I forgot what year it was, but it was about when she was meeting the year she met her husband.
Yeah.
And that whole story was really cool. I didn't know that.
That was awesome.
But I thought it was a good I thought it was like a cute dance. I liked it. You know, salsa, again, it's there's a technicality to it, but I don't feel like it's as difficult as some of the other dances she's done. And I just liked it. I thought it was like a good energy. She really gave a good energy to the dance, so I liked it. And then the whole thing, Bruno just kept losing his chair all the time. I think that time it just straight up like rolled off the platform.
No, it did. And then I don't know who warned him. I don't know if it was Tyra or Derek, but I think it was Tyra, because she was like, "Don't sit down," and he was like,
"Oh yeah," she kept saying, "Don't sit down."
That was really fun, and it's usually Carrie Ann who's losing her chair, so it's like.
Yeah, I don't know. Burnout, like they're having a competition now. It's like on the two ends. Maybe they need to put them in the middle so that way like Derek and like Len can contain them.
Exactly.
I don't know. They're gonna change the seating arrangements after all these years. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Exactly.
But yeah, did you have anything about Jordan's dance that you want to say?
No, I really enjoyed it, and I really think her confidence is really like coming out, and it's so awesome to see. I think the reason I didn't put it in, because I originally did have them in my honorable mentions, but I agreed. I don't know if it was Derek or if it was Len, but one of them said that they would have liked to see a little bit more salsa content in it, and I did that. Like I was saying, I did not dislike the dance. Like it wasn't that I disliked the like non-salsa parts. I really did enjoy it, but when you see salsa, I would have kind of have liked to see maybe like 2/3 salsa and then like a third kind of like extra stuff, and I feel like reversed, where it was like 2/3 extra stuff and 1/3 salsa. So and I thought the choreography was great. I just, in terms of like kind of basing it on a salsa, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more salsa content. I think that's kind of why I took it out of my honorable mentions, but I did really enjoy it, and I love seeing her performance. Her performance quality is always great.
Yes. And then the other honorable mention I have, and maybe you had this as one of your top dances, was Selma and Sasha. So they did a waltz, and it was about the year that it was 2018, that she was diagnosed with MS, and how it was freeing because she finally had answers. And I think it was just very timely that she ended up doing this dance this night, because we do find out that she needs to drop out because of her health, that it's just, because of the constant weeks back to back with the dancing, it's causing, I think she said, intensive bone trauma, that there's like some minor stress fractures, things like that. And it's just that I think it's just not pushing herself, because it could just cause like more serious injuries. And with a condition like hers, it's just hard to, it's not like you're just like, oh, you push yourself and then you recover. It takes her body so much longer to recover. So, I think it was just it. Of course, like, we're not looking at technicality
Yeah,
or anything
exactly.
else here. I think because even at that point, it was just like, that just needs to be addressed. And obviously, I hate to see that she is leaving, but I think I'm glad she made it to this week, and I'm glad she's accomplished what she accomplished in the prior weeks, because I think, as hard as it is for her, it was good to like kind of have the full circle moment of leaving on that week.
Mhm.
And it's kind of just like, okay, it's and then you're also kind of just like, well, at least nobody else is like going home that like just because they
Exactly.
get voted out. It's
Exactly.
like, okay, well then she's opting to leave, so it's kind of just like an,
Yes.
okay, it's sad, but
Yeah.
at least it's more on her own terms.
Mhm.
So yeah, I didn't know what you wanted to say about that.
No, exactly. I completely agree. And like you were saying, she was in one
Mhm.
of my top dances. And like you were saying, with it being her last dance because of her condition and kind of the injuries that it's kind of been lingering because of it. I
Mhm.
think, and I'm happy that she was saying this, because in her package, she, like, after she had told Sasha about
Yeah.
how she had to drop out and leave the competition because of this, um, she really maybe was kind of try to inspire people with the message of maybe not try to push yourself of doing things like that maybe are not the most feasible or the most reasonable if it's going to cost you like your health or mental state or
Yeah.
something like that. I think that was a really, really inspiring message, because I know, again, that's probably all something that we all deal with.
Mhm.
And it was really inspiring. And like you said, when the package came on, I was like, I'm not even going to write down any technicality in this, because that's not even fair to her at
Yeah.
all. And that's not what this dance is supposed to be about. It's just to kind of showcase her strength and just
Yeah.
the courage it took to even come out for her last dance, and how awesome it is to see her make
Yeah.
it to this point in the competition. It was awesome to, like you said, see her make it to most
Mhm.
memorable year
Yeah.
week. It was so awesome, and I'm so happy about that. I thought, again, just like we've seen all competition long, she's just so elegant and so poised, not even just in her dancing, but just
Yeah.
personality wise. And like we've talked about before, Sasha, hands down, like, there's no question in my mind, he was the best partner she could have ever had.
Mhm.
He was so great with her, and I think them knowing each other prior was awesome as well. And I
Yeah.
think helped with their connection. But you could just tell how, like, much and how much of an honor it was for him to dance with her. And
Mhm.
she's just such an amazing person, and she accomplished so much on the show. And I'm sure she's even just so happy with how much she's accomplished. And I'm so happy to see how much she
Yeah.
accomplished on the show. And I agree with Carrie Ann that it's one of Sasha's best seasons for this reason, that he really
Mhm.
was so dedicated to her.
Yeah.
And she has such great determination just to even continue, because they probably could have
Mhm.
been easy not even to sign up or to leave earlier because of this. But again, like we had talked about previously, I had mentioned how it was awesome to see how Sasha was like not pushing her
Yeah.
to the point where it could become dangerous, but
Yeah.
also still coming up with good choreography. And I but like we were talking about, if she continued to push herself, like if she didn't listen to what her doctors were telling her, it probably could
Mhm.
have gotten to a dangerous point. And
Yeah.
obviously her health is the most important. Obviously it is sad to see her
Mhm.
go, but obviously, but again, her health is the
Yeah.
most important. And I'm just so happy to see how much she's accomplished. She definitely was a huge inspiration to everybody. And I saw a few comments on like the YouTube, kind of comments of the dance and stuff like that. And they were talking about how um when you saw how everybody was so emotional after the dance and during the
Yeah.
pack and stuff like that, and how the judges had mentioned like with all the like every production team and everything like that on the show
Mhm.
has just been so impacted by her. I think that just
Yes.
shows how special of a person she is, and even
Yeah.
how, even though the show's so big, she impacted so many people so positively. And I
Mhm.
just think she was an amazing inspiration. And I thought the perfect score, even though it didn't count, I thought
Yeah.
that was so classy and just amazing. So I'm so glad
Yeah.
that we got to see that as well. I'm sure that felt so great for her. So
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and even technically, I think it looked like pretty good. So,
No, it did. I know.
but oh goodness. All right. Okay, so we probably have the same three of the rest of the top dances. So why don't you start
Which
us
one
off
do you want
with
to
one
start
of
with?
them? Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
You pick.
Okay. It's so funny. We've been having the same top ones. I was like,
Well,
which one do you want to do
yeah.
this week? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so my first one, we'll start with Wayne and Whitney. And
Mhm.
he did the Foxtrot. In his year was 2003, which was the year his daughter was born.
Yeah.
And I felt the emotion was so great. Again, his performance quality is so good. He is so good at articulating emotion through movement.
Mhm.
And even though we had talked about ballroom is still new for him, and he has even explained that, he looks so comfortable with it now, which is so amazing.
Yeah.
His frame of posture was awesome. I thought it was great. And I know I think Whitney was really kind of drilling him on that. It's like, we're going to work on our frame for just because I think that's because he's done a few smooth and standard dances back to back, I think, besides the jazz dance. So I
Yeah.
think that's why he's been working on his frame. I thought the choreo was so creative, and Whitney's choreography is always great. I felt like like we had talked about, he's so graceful and he's an amazing storyteller. I think that's where his acting and improv experience comes in like handy. I thought the routine was very detailed, and he's just such an amazing and likable, humble guy, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I mean, it's not hard to cheer for him. It's so easy to root for him because
Yeah.
like humble and sweet he is. You can tell he's just so grateful for the entire experience. I just think it's amazing, and I'm so happy he got his first 10. And I think it was the first 10s of the season too. I could be wrong, but I think it was the first 10 of the season. Because I think he went first before the other top two. I believe. I could be wrong.
No, Charlie was before.
No, you're right.
Charlie was before.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was awesome to see him get a 10.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to see him get almost a perfect score with the 9 as well. And he's just progressed and improved so much. I'm just so excited to see him. I really definitely think he's going to be in the finale. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. If you're basing it on just pure kind of technical dancing or just performance, all that, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind he makes it to the finals, and I'm just so excited to see him continue with that because he's been so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have all the same comments that you said. I think the only thing that they were saying was the song. I think the song that he danced to, actually, he said that he sang for the Cinderella soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it was about, he's like, it's about his daughter. And then I think his daughter was like, oh no, it's not Cinderella. And it's like, well, it's about you.
Yeah, it's like, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, when I sang the song.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
That's sweet.
Just to see that. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. His Foxtrot, it was amazing.
It was great.
And I think like we've agreed, like these are going to be some of our top three in the finale.
Exactly. So next I'll go with Charlie and Mark, and this too is probably one of the best dances I've ever seen on the show as well. And I know you posted about it, and it was just so great. I thought this is before the performance. I just thought it was so funny where they came in at the beginning of the package, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, the Simpsons dance was so much fun!" And I love how Mark said "yobos." I thought that was really funny. The yobos joke, that was because he showed the yellow paint on his elbow.
Oh gosh,
that was really funny. But her year was this year, and it kind of makes sense because of how young she is. But she's been talking. Her story was how she has suffered with anxiety for a very long time since she was young. And that's something I've heard just based on like other people that have been on the show, like just around her, is that she seems like even though she's a very confident person, I think she is pretty reserved, like kind of in front of people, from what I've heard. Yeah, it's kind of where the anxiety, like that's also where it could come from. I thought the storytelling was great as always. Like we had talked about, her facial expressions are on point 100%. I don't think anybody, like, she's just so good at it. And it really kind of conveys the story so perfectly. Her performance quality is so high, and her turns are amazing. And like all the judges said, that she just has so much grace and ease in her movement. I just think it's so awesome. And that little, like, I don't know, it was like that like flip she did, and then like the drop at the in the
Oh
middle
yeah.
was so awesome. It was great. It was so fantastic. It's so awesome to see Mark's choreography, because it's so detailed and
Mhm.
amazing. It's just so refreshing to see him back on the show.
Yeah.
I agree with Derek that it was so raw and so powerful, and it's so awesome that she's sharing this with the, like, on the show, and sharing this with everybody, because like people could think, oh, she makes all this money and she's on TikTok and she's like all famous and everything, like it's just probably
Mhm.
perfect for her. But it was awesome to kind of see her show, like, I'm still human and I have these
Yeah.
emotions. And I know we both talked about how like we've kind of had anxieties in our
Mhm.
life. That's something that we've struggled with, and has been really
Yeah.
kind of debilitating for us. So seeing somebody who's younger than us and kind of sharing their story as well was so moving for me and so inspiring for
Yeah.
me. And I just thought it was amazing. And it was so awesome to see her get the tens as well, because it was the first tens of the season. So it was awesome. I thought it was so good.
Yeah, I think contemporary was definitely the right
Yes.
song or the right style of dance for this. And it was great. I mean, I agree with everything you were saying. I think like, and Carrie Ann did make a huge point of thanking her for speaking up, because
Yeah.
I thought it was just great to hear that, like drawing attention to it, because I think that's the thing. Like she kind of was like, oh, I just was like playing around with TikTok, and like I wasn't into that whole thing, that all the stuff
Mhm.
she was posting, but like, she just like blew up on the platform. And I think
Mhm.
it's just like, nobody who's equipped for that.
No,
You're
I know.
living a normal life, and then you're like skyrocketed to stardom, and you barely knew what the app even was.
I
And
know.
I think it's and even just like in the prom episode, she talks about like staying in touch with some of her friends from Connecticut and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's so good to see that like she does still have a very good bond with some of her friends before she blew up. Like you could just tell she doesn't let it get to her head. I mean, I
Yes.
clearly don't have that much time to watch television, but it actually like kind of almost made me genuinely interested in like watching the D'Amelio show on Hulu.
Mhm.
Um, and I just thought it was great, the whole thing. And she got 3 tens, and I think Len didn't give her a 10. And I was like, really, man? I think they were just whatever. But I mean, it was just, I think it was just like beyond the scoring. I mean,
It was so
that yeah, my mom didn't get to watch the whole first episode with me. We'll probably sit down and watch the rest of it this weekend, the things that she didn't see. And I told her, I was like, you have to, this was amazing,
it
this
was
dance.
so good.
Yeah.
And like she had talked about,
Yeah.
contemporary was, this is definitely a kind of style of dance that
Yeah.
she's more comfortable with. So I think that's
Yeah,
going to tap into the
it
emotion as
helped.
well. And so it was definitely perfect for her,
Yeah.
for sure. It was so
Yeah.
good.
Okay, so Gabby, our
Yes.
girl Gabby.
Our girl. So
Yeah,
do
go
you want to
ahead.
go first? Do you want to go?
No, you go, you go.
Okay, so she did a foxtrot, and
Mhm.
obviously, her year was 2020, since she was an ICU nurse. I think she said she'd been an ICU nurse for like 7 years after she
Yeah.
graduated college, I think.
Mhm.
And I'm just so genuinely proud of her. She's so awesome and just so open. And I said I'm already getting emotional during the package because of how like open she
Yeah.
was being in the package. Her arms was so fluid and so just like so soft but and amazing.
Mhm.
Val's choreo as always was amazing. Her frame and legs were fantastic. I thought again, it was just she just eased and flowed through the movements, and it was so graceful, and her turns were great, like Derek said. And I thought it was so awesome to
Yeah.
see that her parents were there and everything like that. She's just such a
Yeah.
strong person, and like we had talked about with kind of getting to know her this year on TV, it's just been so awesome to see it. And she's just
Yeah.
such an amazing inspiration to people. I thought it was an amazing dance and just so great.
Yeah. I also thought I saw Genevieve and Marlena
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
audience too.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
I saw them
Um,
too. Yeah.
yeah, it was like, and then of course Rachel and Eric,
Rachel and
obviously.
Eric.
But
Yep.
I know I keep like, I'm like Rachel and Eric.
Rachel and
It
Eric. Yeah.
sounds like I'm like pairing them together. But no, I mean, Gabby, I mean, thank you to Gabby and to
Yes.
all
Thank you.
of
Yeah.
the nurses during the pandemic. Really, I can't even imagine what
Mm.
you all went through. And I mean, I think it just makes us happier for Gabby's whole story that she's embarked on. And it was amazing performance. It was great. And I think it was a great tribute to all of the healthcare workers during the pandemic.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that rounds out our top grouping for the first
Mhm.
episode.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So the only dances we didn't talk about were Trevor and Emma did a jazz dance, and I forgot what year it was, but he was talking about just like his stress about acting, and he had gotten a role, and then he got fired from the role, and then he eventually ended up going back home and then getting the role for the 90210. It was the remake, the thing that I guess like made him more famous. Because I haven't watched any of that, but I thought it was really good, and it was an improvement on some of his last few dances. And then this was like the start of when Bruno knocked his chair off the platform, and then it was just like, I guess like when it was during Jordan that he lost the chair again. So so I think it was like literally first dance was when Bruno knocked the chair off. But I thought, I mean, it definitely like some improvement. I think we saw that big jump to Trevor's like Roomba during that second week, and I feel like it's like where he's like he peaked, and then it was like he dipped, and then he's like slowly climbing back up because it's like better. I think some of these other people that were like a little bit weaker in the first few weeks are like starting to sneak up and surpass him.
I agree, totally.
But yeah, I mean, so it was that dance, and then Jesse and Alan did their tango, and hers was about the year she became a mom. And I thought, I think she was definitely improving. I think the Monday night performance, it wasn't her best dance, but it looked better than like some of the ones she's done in the past.
No, it was. I just thought her drive last week was better.
But yeah, I mean that with the
that was amazing.
That was like amazing. That was like
it was so hard to top
moment. Yeah. So I think that's really all we had for that. I'm like, where did my notes go? Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Did you have anything else about the first episode, or shall we go on to the second one?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Again, I just absolutely always love that theme, and it's always great to see kind of the emotions that the stars bring up for most memorable here. It was awesome.
Okay. Alrighty, on to prom night. All right, so go ahead. Let's start with the honorable mentions again.
Okay, so my first honorable mention, and now I only have 4 this time, so we're keeping it to what we wanted to keep it to. So my first one was Joseph and Daniela, and they did a cha-cha, and I thought it was really good in terms of like, again, with his confidence. Like I talked about his arms again, with it being really a kind of a strong suit for him. It never seems like he's uncomfortable with his arms. I think he's more comfortable performance-wise, especially. I think that he was more comfortable performance-wise from like this night than Monday night. I thought it had an amazing energy and performance quality. And like it was weird because they had like the way that they blocked the dance, the camera angle they have when they were doing the New Yorkers. They were it was like kind of like an overhead shot, so you didn't really see if the legs were straight or not. But I thought they were straight from what I could see in the New Yorkers. And I definitely agreed with Len that his foot placement and sharpness on the Cuban breaks were good. I thought that was the best part of the dance. I thought his Cuban breaks were awesome, and I definitely think he's been improving every week, and it's been awesome to see him grow.
Yeah, I also had Joseph and Daniela in my honorable mentions. And Cha-Cha was great, and like he kind of also lucked out in some ways that the 2 dances he had this week were both Latin, so it's like similar styles at least. I'm just so sad that he ultimately got eliminated.
Me too.
Because I mean, like, it was between him and Heidi, and I personally, I feel like they should have kept Joseph, and you could tell that the judges were even torn, but like, we can get into Heidi. Agree. I think Heidi just had a really good dance that night, and I think that was kind of what was in their head. But personally, I feel bad for Joseph because, I mean, not that Alexis wasn't great, she was, but like Joseph unfortunately missed that continuity right at the beginning of the show, that he couldn't really like get a hold of things with Daniela right away, and like then was sent to Alexis, and I just feel like on top of it, I think comparatively Heidi can sometimes look stiff in some of her dances to me. I think that I just feel like Joseph is a little bit more like fluid in his motion, so I just feel like, I don't know, I mean, I still just get angry because I just always feel like it should be down to the bottom 2 scoring, like based on the scores, and then the voting saves them, because they both did so well that I didn't want to see either of them go home.
Yeah, exactly.
And they put the judges in this awkward position, and it's kind of like neither of them should be going home. Because like, not for nothing, I mean, look, who were the lowest scoring ones at the end of the night? Probably like Vinny, and then I think Jesse, they bumped up a little bit. But even if it was like Jesse or Vinny, I'm kind of like, even if they had to let one of them go because of the voting and the scores and whatever, I think it would have at least like made a little more sense, or it would have been like, okay.
No, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know. Not that
No,
I wanted to see them go home either, but like we kind of have to see people leave at this point.
No.
So I don't know. That was just my biggest thing.
No, I totally agree. I was like, since we're talking about this now with the elimination, it definitely made me really upset. And I mean, I'm curious to see, because I know I know especially with Carrie Ann's comments with Heidi's dance, she didn't think it was as strong as Monday nights, and I agreed with that. And so if that was the case,
was another thing. Yeah,
that was another thing. So I'm interested to see if they had prom night Monday and most memorable year Tuesday, if it would have been the same situation. If they would have so that's just really. But Carrie Ann did save Joseph, so that's the thing. But that's another thing. I was just so upset because, like you said, it was so awesome to see Alexis on the show and see it was so awesome to see her just take on the responsibility of a pro, and she did so great at it and was so awesome. But Daniela and Joseph, they didn't get a chance to really dance together that much. And I think he was obviously really wanting that. And obviously Danny really wants that too, because that's her partner. And I felt like he has grown so much to where I felt like I could have even seen him grow even more. And like you were saying, you hate to see anybody go home, but like there was at least 3 people I think I would have not rather see go home, because again, you don't want to see anybody go home, but that's just kind of how the show works.
There's been more okay with seeing them leave.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I could have seen it. I could have seen there's 3 people other than him go home, and it would have made sense to me. So that's why I'm just a little disappointed, just because not a little, I'm pretty disappointed, because I feel like he's just grown so much. And I feel like he was only going to go up and up and just continue to grow. And he just has so much potential, just like Carrie Ann had said. So I definitely am very disappointed, but I think the time his time on the show was great. And he did amazing, especially having to work with 2 partners for half the competition, or for the whole competition. Half the competition he had to work with Alexis and half with Danny, which is like probably, I really commend him for that. It's probably so difficult. And I completely agree with you with the whole judges thing. I really wish it was back to like when they first, like the first 15 seasons of the show or whatever, or even 20 seasons of the show, where I don't even think it might even be longer than that, 25 seasons of the show. I don't think they've been doing this for like maybe not even 5 years at this point.
Well, I don't think it was just based on the voting. I mean, so it was still annoying. So they tried to do this to avoid it being an issue, but I'm like, you're not solving the problem.
No, it's because then you're putting it, you're
putting it on the judges to make the difficult decision.
When they already like judge them already. And then so it's like it's supposed to be kind of like the voting will determine after the scores. Yeah, I really wish that was how they still did it. That makes the most sense to me. But
I mean, the way I'm describing it, I don't think they ever did it that way. But like, I'm gonna start a petition.
Yeah, start a petition. Yeah, exactly. But
I'm gonna start tweeting. Okay.
No, exactly. But it was great. His dance was great, but it was very disappointing to see him, in my opinion.
So frustrating. Anyway, who was your other honorable mention?
Exactly. Now we got out of our disappointment out of the way in terms of like going home. All right, let's get a little bit more happy. Okay, so my next one was Shangela and Gleb, and they did that cha-cha. And I thought the performance was great. I agree with Len that I feel like that kind of like thing. It was awesome to see that kind of Beyonce moment at the beginning, J-Lo. J-Lo, that's right. J-Lo. I get them confused, but with the whole J-Lo moment at the beginning, but I felt like it took up half the dance, and that was like the only issue I had with it, because like they only get like a minute 15 for dances now, and that was like a 35-40 second like opening, and they only had like the actual technique part of the dance was very not, I mean, it wasn't that long, but I thought what it was good. I thought her legs and energy were great, like we always talked about, and I did agree with the footwork comment. I don't know who said it. I think it might have been Len. But I did agree with I think the footwork could be a little bit more crisper, but I thought overall the performance was really good. And again, front woman quality and front woman, this like persona all day. She's just so awesome. And I, like we were talking about for night one, her just this performance and confidence is so awesome. And so yeah, that was one I was like, do I want to put it in like my honorable mentions? But I thought I really did enjoy it, so that's why I did.
Yeah, I had her in my top just
Okay.
because it was just like it was just such a moment.
It was such a moment.
I agree. Like technically she still needs to do some work. That's why I think like the Foxtrot was like the best technically we've been able to see. I mean, now we also know she has a titanium rod in her leg, so that kind of also like opens your mind up to like
Exactly.
I mean, listen, her performance is just like hands
Fantastic.
down the best. So I think just like from that aspect, it was amazing. And I you know, we love the JLo moment. And
Love the
when she
JLo
was
moment.
saying, I think with Len, she was just like, if you want, she's like, I love crispy chicken, I'll give you KFC. So I think, oh my gosh, she's just all the clips and the rehearsal. I just love it.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah, I had her in my top just because it was just like such a memorable dance.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like I get what you're saying. Okay.
Exactly.
So who else did you have?
So next for me is Daniel and Britt, and they also did a cha-cha. And I thought again, his confidence is so good, and I love that he had that like solo moment at the beginning where they had like, he was in that circle stage and had like the lights on him, and he was just like he was just getting all into it and everything. I was like, that's awesome. I thought his legs were good, especially again with him not being able to hear the music, and I thought his timing was really good as well. His arms were good. I thought his New Yorkers overall, the arms are really good. I absolutely love Britt's choreo, and I was like, I see you, dude, with that body roll. He really got into it. It was awesome. And I agree about the free arm from Len, like what he was talking about. But that's something I struggle with too, because that's like when I look back at my cha-cha or any of my Latin dances, especially cha-cha and rumba, like when I'm not doing a New Yorker or doing some kind of thing with one of my other arms, I'm usually not doing something with this arm. I kind of either have it dropped or just have it to my hip. I'm not really doing, and it's like, yeah, I know, just like we talked about in the class.
My arm disappears.
Exactly, like mine does too. Yeah. But it's like, because when you're doing like you said with a New Yorker with one hand and then like with the other one, it's kind of awkward and you don't know what to do. So I can see why it's hard for him, and it's hard for me. It's something I struggle with too, like, and something I've completely been working on. But I definitely agree with that. And his swagger is so good. It's so amazing. It's so infectious and it's awesome. And his performance quality is always great. And I'm really happy because like we were talking about with his quick step last week, I think these two dances were an amazing step up with his contemporary and cha-cha. I thought it was a great step up from last week, and I think he really did improve, and I'm so happy for him.
I agree. I did have him as one of my honorable mentions. I thought it was great. You know, the cha-cha was really good. I love to see like his confidence and going after the dance and everything. And I really feel like he had two solid performances this week, you know. So I was really happy to see that for him.
Me too.
Okay, who else?
So I have one more.
Yes.
So for me, the last one was Jessie and Alan, and they did the Viennese waltz, and I thought her frame was awesome. I thought it was like, I don't know if it was, I think she's done, I think it was her best frame she's had the whole competition. It was so powerful. The thing is, and obviously we saw this, is that she really got emotional at the end of the dance, and we've seen that kind of in her prior packages as well, that she really puts her emotion and heart into all the dances, and even though she might be frustrated, like kind of with her effort, or not even effort, because you can see she's giving 100% all the time, but with her technicality, if she like messes up on something like that, you can tell how seriously she takes it, and she's just putting her heart and soul into it, which is just so awesome to see. And I agree that she showed that what the judges were saying, that she's been growing so much. And I agree about the arms, because I think, I don't know, I think the arms were great, and I thought it was amazing. I think it's awesome to see her improving. I thought this was definitely better than Monday night. I thought this was amazing. I thought her turns were awesome. And like I had said, you can totally see how much she cares about it, which is awesome to see. And I thought Alan's choreo was great. It was awesome to see her kind of again regain her confidence, because I remember I think the judges kind of critiqued her a little bit more on Monday night, like we had talked about. It wasn't her best, but I think this was definitely a step in the right direction. And she just has an amazing spirit about her, and just like great this determination, which is awesome to see. So that's why I put her in the honorable mentions. I just thought the dance was awesome.
Yeah. I didn't have her listed on mine, but I
Okay.
agree. I thought her Viennese Waltz was better than Monday Night's Dance.
Mhm.
And I thought it was definitely like a good step up for her again. And it's just solidifying that. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. I just
Yeah.
like the other dances better.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I know. It's like, I still like them.
Exactly. Me too.
Okay, who
No,
else?
it's the exact same thing with the when
Then it's the other way around too.
no, exactly. But it's the exact same thing with the when you're going about it's like, oh, we still love the dance, even if we don't put it at the top, because
Yeah.
like the judges will like say they love it, but give one critique and then everybody boos. They're like, I still liked it. It's really
Oh, I know. Someone, I forgot who it was. Like Len was giving
oh, it
feedback to
was, yeah.
somebody, and they're like, I'm giving a positive
It's
comment.
I'm giving a good comment. It's like,
Like,
come
what
on.
are you
people.
doing? Anyway, okay.
It's really funny.
All
So
right.
that's my last honorable mention.
Oh, that was your last one.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. That's right. Okay. All right. The other people that I had were so I had Heidi and Artem
Okay.
because I really liked her jazz to
Yes,
the
I
girls
do
just
too.
want to have fun. I thought it was my favorite dance of hers. I mean, I know Carrie Ann was like kind of saying it wasn't her best dance. And I don't think it was her. How do I say this? I thought the Mary Poppins one was like
I think
better,
that's hands down her best.
but like this was one of my favorite ones that I really like enjoyed.
Yes, me
Like
too.
just like watching it was like fun to watch. And then again, with the jazz and the contemporary dances, it kind of gets a little bit more because like between last week and this week we've had a little more of those to try to do that. And it kind of just like I think that's another thing, she had like a more free form type dance tonight. And then
Right.
Joseph had the cha-cha that's more technical with the
Mhm.
Latin. But yeah, I didn't know if you had anything else to say about that.
No, I completely agree. Like I said, I actually did put them in my honorable mentions too, but I didn't want to have 5 for each one when we originally said 4. And again, I actually did agree with Carrie Ann's comment because I was watching her face like
Yeah.
half of the dance and every round as well. And the performance and the technicality of the jazz like steps were great.
Yeah.
I did agree with her though that I did think she kind of closed off a little bit to me because it didn't seem like there was as much emotion like kind of emoting from her. That's what at least I thought.
Yeah.
I did agree with her from it. I mean, again, by no means does that mean I hated the dance or didn't like the dance. I absolutely loved the dance and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. But I did agree with her about that to where I felt like it was a little bit more
Hmm.
closed in.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't put it like that's why I had my other honorable mentions like before. I mean, that's why I didn't have her in my honorable mentions, and I had a few other people in my honorable mentions, but I thought it was great.
Yeah. And then the other person I had was well, I had Jordan and Brandon that they did the contemporary and she danced to No Air
Mhm.
because she like her own song played at her prom,
That's
which I
awesome.
think I have to look again because when she was talking about the years on that, I was like, oh, she's the same age as me too, roughly. I didn't realize that. And then
I think
it
you
was
said
great.
something like that was great.
I think she said 2008 or
Hey,
something
okay, yeah.
because I graduated high school in 2009 and I know Gabby's the same age as me too.
Mhm.
So like I mean because yeah, Gabby's like a month older than me. But I forgot like Jordan must be around my age too, so I'll have to go check that. But
Mhm.
I thought it was so great. I mean, I just love like I think because last week she had the jazz and then now she had the contemporary, and I think it's just great to see her have like the opportunity to just do like like a performance that's not so bound by all the technicality, and I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean I didn't put it in the top, but she was one of my honorable mentions too.
Yeah, and she was in my top, and that's actually the reason why I put
Yeah.
it. The reason I put her in my top was because I thought it was so much improved from Monday.
Yeah.
That's why I put her in my top, is because I thought
Yeah.
it was so much
Oh,
better than
yeah,
Monday
too.
Night Dance. And I completely agree. And I thought the contemporary was great for her. I thought her she had she had such great fluidity and intention in her movements. I think that's what Carrie Ann said. And her
Yeah.
lines and arms were fantastic. I
Mhm.
thought her facial expressions, as always, were great. And then Brandon's choreo was awesome. I thought it was
Yeah.
like he's so just like intricate and detailed with it, and each little nuance of the dance was
Yeah.
amazing. And I agree with Bruno where he was like, "You had trouble with balance, and you don't anymore." She's gotten so much better
Yeah.
at it, and I think that's something that again we've talked about or we've seen in the packages that Brandon's going to be has been saying we're going to work on the turns and we're going to get these turns right and we're going to get the balance
Mhm.
right. It doesn't seem like she has any problems with that anymore, at least as much as we can tell, and she's just seems so much more comfortable in it, and it's just I thought the dance was absolutely great.
Yeah. And then I just thought it was funny at the end when they were doing Up in the Skybox and they were all singing No
Oh
Air,
right.
and I forgot how much Brandon was singing, but his eyes, he's like, I'm like, does he not remember the lyrics? Is he scared of how his singing sounds? Like, it's so funny. I was like, oh
Exactly.
man.
That was funny.
Oh, all right. So, okay. So here we are again. Top three dances.
Top three
Same
dances, they're
people.
gonna be the same one.
So
Let's do it.
I don't know. Who do you want to talk about first?
I'll just start from the order I have in my notes. So let's start let's start with Charlie and Mark.
Okay.
And I definitely I thought the energy was fantastic. Just like we've always talked about, I keep saying this, but her storytelling and performance things are fantastic as well. I think that's one of her best strengths dancing wise. Her kicks were good. I thought Mark's choreo was fantastic as always.
As always.
As always, exactly. And like I've seen so many people had talked about how like it's so refreshing to see his choreography on the show again, because it's been so missed to see somebody like him, like his choreography and such creative choreography on the show. So it's so awesome to see him back. I thought her turns were great and so sharp and crisp, as like Len had said. Her musicality is great, and she's like always hits every nuance and every step perfectly. I actually did agree with Carrie Ann and Derek's comments, and I think this is why I actually think why, like I know people were like, oh, it deserved all 10s, but I agreed with their comments pretty, like I actually did agree with their comments to where I did think she could emote a little bit more, especially during this dance. And that's why I do think the 2 9s were actually pretty fair because of that reason. But I thought technically it was great, and again, she's fantastic and so amazing, and it seems like she's getting more comfortable with Ballroom, which is awesome to see. And I thought it was Mark's an amazing partner for her, and he gets, I think, the most out of her, so it's awesome to see. So that's what I thought.
So it was funny because her prom was only a few months ago, and I was like mentioning earlier about like her friends, basically they wanted her to come to the prom, to like come back to Connecticut, so she went. So I was just happy to hear that story as well. I mean, it was an amazing jive, but fantastic. I agree with everything you're saying. Like she's done so many great dances that in the scope of it, I wouldn't say that it was her best one. I thought it was hilarious when they like recreated the prom photo after the end too. But I think like anything, if there's any dances that she's done to date that I think deserve all the 10s that just didn't get the 10s because I think the judges were kind of withholding, I feel like her contemporary from Monday should have gotten it. I don't know why Len didn't give it to her, but Len gave her a 10 for the jive, because I think I don't know, maybe Len's just like, well, I'm gonna give a 10 on the technical dance.
That's what I think Len always does, is because Len's the stickler for not having hip hop moves in a Latin dance or something like that. But he doesn't like. But I completely agree with you. I think he's more like, the traditional ballroom guy, and it's
And the Simpsons dance, like that should have gotten a 40, like 100%. But I think they were just trying to like hold off on the 10s. But I think if anything, those were the dances that I think were underscored.
Yes,
but like agree. in a way of. I think they were just underscored, but not in that thing that I'm gonna like riot. But I don't think she was underscored on this. I think it was fair with the 2 9s, because I do feel like Gabby and Wayne's were stronger.
Me too. I agree.
Tonight, and this is like the first time since the first week.
First week.
That they are not getting the same. I mean, like collectively, it like that they didn't get the same scores, in the dance that night, or let alone in the whole concept of like the whole whatever this week's things. So
exactly, I completely agree. I don't think it was underscored at all.
But I mean, it's up
but it was fantastic. It was great.
I mean, like clearly. Okay, anyway.
Exactly.
Right,
next all right, so next is I have is Wayne and Whitney, and they did a samba. It was so good. Wayne has just, again, like we talked about, he has so much swagger, and it's like so infectious. The choreo is so good. That's what Wayne is, or that Whitney is like the queen of adding like other styles to Latin. That's what I've noticed. She's so good at it, and she's so creative. The samba content was great. He's an all-star performer. And now I'm going to say Bachata is in the right context, because
he did do them. He did do them.
Now I know them exactly. And I knew them exactly, but now I'm just saying in the right context. I thought his bachacatas were great. I thought it was cool where like they kind of did like the quick, and then like she like added like a slow one where they kind of like felt it through, and then like finished it. I thought his legs were great with that. His sharpness with his footwork was fantastic. He's been so good the entire competition, like I had mentioned, and I'm so proud of all his improvement throughout the entire competition. His posture, I think somebody was talking about his posture maybe being a little bit was great.
Mhm.
I don't know if somebody, I felt like somebody said his posture like needed to have a little bit worked on, but then I don't think that's right because he got a perfect score. But
I think they just want to make sure that they're maintaining at this point. Like,
exactly,
that's my hunch, because it's like, okay, we're gonna give you a 10, but it's like their expectations for a 10 the next week are gonna be higher.
no, exactly. No,
That
I
makes
totally
sense.
agree. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I just wrote down, I agree about the posture, and I should have wrote down what they said about the posture. I should
Yeah.
have, but I do agree about that. I remember, I think Carrie Ann said it was a breakthrough performance. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fantastic. And when you get a standing ovation from Len, it's great.
Yeah.
I love the joke they made where he was like, "Oh, I was standing up, I was just stretching." That was really funny where he was joking with him.
Yeah.
Uh, and I thought that was really funny. And yeah, like I had said, Whitney's choreography was just great. So I hands down like deserved the perfect score, and it was so
Mhm.
much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, samba. So the thing with samba is there's so many different steps. Like, I'm just obviously not to you, but I'm saying this to everybody else listening.
Yes,
Samba has so many different types of moves and steps, and they have different timing. And
yes.
so he really, everything that she had put in there, he got a hold of, and it was like, performance wise, it was great too on top of it. So like 100%, I agree. He
Yeah,
deserved his score.
it was so good. And
Yeah.
with and like we were talking about, and I'm not sure where it falls in your difficulty level of your Latin dances, but I think hands down for me, even more difficult than jive, I think samba for me is the hardest Latin dance I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he did amazing.
Yeah, I like samba.
I love samba. It's
I
so
like
much fun.
samba and jive are my two favorites, I think.
Yes.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Cha-cha, I'm okay. Rumba and paso are typically the ones that I have the hardest time with for different reasons that we don't need to get into now. But anyway,
so knowing how difficult
yeah.
samba is,
Yeah,
kind of
but it's difficult.
great.
Yeah, I just like the general style of the dance. It's just easier for me to. I mean, but like from a technical perspective, it's hard.
Exactly.
I think I've
Yeah.
had a lot of practice on it, but yeah.
Oh yeah. So knowing that and knowing how
Yeah.
difficult samba is, he did fantastic. It was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
And
our
obviously,
girl
again,
Gabby.
Our girl Gabby, last but not least, again. She did a tango. I think hands down, this was her absolute best frame and best dance of the entire competition.
Perfect score of the competition too.
Yes, perfect score of the competition, absolutely deserved. And I think it actually probably again helped her because she's only done, I'm trying to think, because it's week 5, but they had 2 episodes, so she's done 6 dances, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think 2/3 of them or most of them have been smoother standard dances because she's done because she did jive and cha-cha, but she's also done Viennese waltz. She just did tango, and then she did foxtrot. So I think her having kind of like the back to back with quick step last week and then foxtrot last night or on Monday, I think that really helped her with having like like I think that's why her frame was so strong. It's because she had 3 like in frame dances back to back, and I think just again her frame was just so good. I think like I had said, it was the strongest of the competition. Her footwork was great and so sharp and so crisp. This was the most expressive, just like Carrie Ann had said. This was the most expressive and full out I have seen her, and that was so amazing to see because I know that's what Carrie Ann was wanting from her, and she was so happy when she was like giving her comments. It was so great to see, and I absolutely loved it. Bell's choreo, again, I'll say this every week, fantastic. There was so much power and energy, just like the tango is supposed to be, and so much passion as well. The movements were so sharp. I just thought they were just so precise and so detailed, and it was definitely her best dance. And like you said, the perfect score was absolutely deserved.
Yeah, 100%. I thought it was just amazing. I mean, her performance was great. Like the expressiveness of like her face, her body language, it was all like it was perfect. It was just I mean, and we're only on episode 6, So I thought it was just funny. She was also just saying how like I can still fit into the dress that I wore for prom, and I'm thinking I think I can too. I hope. I'm pretty sure I can. But yeah, she was great. I love Gabby. Yeah, so I think so after that, the only people that we didn't really talk about were so Vinny and Coco, they did the Viennese waltz. I thought it was very good, just wasn't
Mhm.
like a standout.
Yeah.
And Trevor and Emma did a jive, and I was like on the fence about the whatchamacallit, like putting it as an honorable mention. Because I just thought it was cool. Like it was cool because he danced at Green Day,
Yeah, I
and
love
like
that.
I really liked it, and I thought it was really good. Like he's starting to like I said for the other episode, like I think he's like starting to show his abilities again, and I think it was really good. So it bodes well for him moving forward. It just wasn't
Definitely.
like a standout one for me. And I
Yeah.
just was laughing at his reaction when they pulled out his old photo from the modeling and
That was amazing.
and then he was like, oh my gosh, like mortified.
It was so funny. And it was like you said, it was so awesome to see him dance to Green Day because they don't really play those kind of songs or for them to dance to on the show. So it was awesome for them to play that for them.
Yeah, so I think I just had like a few other notes on like the whole episode. So I thought the opening dance that they did was really cute.
It was great.
Like at the beginning because they all had them like go down the middle and like
that was so cute. Yeah.
I liked that they showed the prom photos or like close to prom photos of the whole cast. It was funny because they kind of like wove it in there, and there were certain times where I'm like, why are you putting it now? Like this
No, exactly.
I don't know, they tried to make it look seamless, but like I liked the photos. That was cool. I thought it was a really cute touch that they did. Then the other thing I have to say, so the cha-cha, they did the cha-cha demo. And so like Derek was narrating it. It was Val and Peta were doing the cha-cha, and they were going through it, and they were talking about like a few different steps. And the one that they specifically mentioned was the New Yorkers that we were mentioning before. And Derek was like, or in Val's case, New Jersey's.
Like, that was so great. Let's go.
I was like, I just felt I was telling David during my lesson today, I was like, I just felt like as a Dance With Me student, like it just meant more to me than it probably does to the average person watching this.
Exactly, me too.
As I'm doing this about New Jersey. Anyway.
Exactly.
I am half Italian.
Yes, me too.
And then last but not least, they had the dance marathon. So they did oh my goodness, Hustle and the Lindy Hop. So I don't think I've ever done Lindy Hop, but we have done Hustle as like one of the social dances that we just know how to do at the studio typically.
Exactly,
and I thought it was so Jesse and Alan won, and I thought it was so cool. Like I think I was reading the comments on some of the posts, and I don't think people were thrilled. They're like, what are you talking about? And whatever. I think honestly I feel like you can't get the full gist of how that appears if you're watching it on the video. It's probably like one of those you need to be there live to like feel the energy, because like it is more like the dance competitions that we do that, I mean, they're not pulling people off the floor exactly like that.
But there's that many people usually. Yeah,
at least not at our competitions. But I mean, typically what might happen is they'll pick people to go to like do a final round, and then they're only going to take like half the couples or something, and then you know, whatever. And we're not like in boxes and whatever. I think they were just doing that probably for like camera blocking and logistics and whatnot. But you know, that is the thing, like when you're on the floor with the other couples and the way that they kind of do our heats, you might not be competing against everybody that's on there, but you're going to have judges watching like a handful of people, and you need to be standing out compared to those other couples. So I think it's just kind of like we can watch everybody dance individually, do their performances. Like basically what they do is like when we talk about showcase performances, what they do every week is like a showcase performance. You know, they're just obviously looking for the elements of the actual dance they're doing in there to a certain degree, but you know, the dance marathon thing was more like
what the competition's actually like.
Yeah, so you have to be at a point that you're trying to like stand out compared to the other people. So I think it's you know, I think it's a true testament to like Alan going through the technique with her, and just like her just performance quality, her stamina, and just like her yeah, and like the performance quality. And I'm not surprised Shangela was like the top 2, 3, or I think 2, she was second. So like I'm not surprised, like
not surprised.
Performance quality, because at the end it probably boiled down to just maybe the technique. So yeah, so we got through.
I thought it was great. No, I was just gonna give my opinion on the dance.
Go.
No, I don't want to take up too much time. I know we still have the Bachelor stuff to go to,
No.
but I thought it was awesome. And like we had talked about before we started recording this, the dance marathon was something they had a long time ago on the show, like early days of the show. And I don't think they've done it for like 10 plus years. So it was awesome to see them bring it back.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing. Like Len was saying, like you were talking about what the actual dance marathon was like in terms of that many people. That's what our typical competition rounds are like. And it was really cool to see. But like you were saying, I think it's obviously not like, obviously when you're watching it on TV, it's probably not what it would be when you're there, because they're like changing cameras and switching cameras all the time. And obviously when you're there, you're watching it with like just like there's nothing changing. You're just watching every couple like all at once. And that's how judges watch it at the competition.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. It was awesome to see that Jesse won as well. And it was cute that they did the prom king and prom queen thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really sweet. But it was crazy how like the top 3 people with Wayne, Charlie, and Gabby, they all got pulled off like middle of the whole thing, which is crazy to me. But they probably boiled down like performance and stuff like that. And it must be hard because they show kind of like that like square screen of the judges, and they were like talking a lot and like of like going through different things. And that's kind of how like you judge an actual competition. So it's probably like really hard to come up with different things. But I was really happy for Jesse and Alan, like you said.
Yeah.
It was awesome. He probably just really drilled that technique into her and was like, you know what, we're just gonna go for it. And it was really awesome to see kind of like a maybe somebody you wouldn't expect to win the dance marathon win it. I was really happy for her. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that was the thing. Like, had she been in the bottom 2, and then like what we were talking about with the judging, I think it's like she would have been in that point that the dance marathon would have like bumped her up and like saved her. Because it's like, imagine if she got voted in the bottom 2, you know, and then it's like, imagine her going home after just winning that. You know, I think that's where part of me is just like, I think my system that I propose works. I'm just gonna make a petition anyway. Exactly. So yes, so we got through both episodes of Dancing with the Stars. Next week is going to be Michael Bublé week. Yeah, that will be interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because he's going to judge and perform. So I'm interested to see how he's going to do that. So I'm interested if he's going to like perform some like or sing some songs and then go judge, or if he's going to like judge half and then sing half. So
he might. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. To be determined.
To be determined. Find that out.
To be determined. Okay. All right. From the ballrooms to the beach.
Yep, there's paradise to the beach, or to ballrooms to the beach. Let's go.
Okay, so we did the 2 episodes of Dancing with the Stars, and now the 2 episodes of Bachelor in Paradise.
6 and 7. Let's do it.
Oh yeah. So okay, so they start us off. They're finally getting ready for this rose ceremony. Like it's kind of the cocktail hour thing before, and so we say goodbye to Jared and Ashley. Which, you know, I think like the viewers are like, goodbye, go home. You know, I've been listening to I didn't listen to the podcast that the 2 of them did talking about the whole thing, but I listened to one that she did today, I think. I don't know. And she was just talking about how like, she's like, look, I know, you know, it is what it is, but she's like, Jared and I enjoyed going down there. It was like a great 3 days. They were in Mexico for another 3 days. In addition to the 3 days they were in Playa Escondida. You know, so like, you know, they were there for their purpose, and that's fine. So I'm not giving them any shade on that. But anyway, so yeah, and then it kicks off, and we've got all of the conversations starting. That there's all the craziness. Before the craziness really ensued, Casey made a joke. He's like, I might be misreading it, but I really think I have a chance with Serene.
That was so hilarious.
Like, oh my gosh! And
He's
then
a good narrator.
Oh, he's a good narrator and commentator. Although the next issue that came up was a little bit. So, okay, the whole like motive and the intentions behind this whole thing were a little bit like unclear. But all right, I'm gonna explain it and then we can dive in. So Casey tells Brittany that Peter was calling her a clout chaser, and that I think he said that Andrew should put him on blast. And then Brittany was gonna go do it. And then Andrew told her not to do it. And I think, okay, Casey definitely like stirred the pot, and then we saw what happened with him with the injury, but like, let's just handle the actual event first. So like, I mean, I think the biggest thing was like, it totally looks like Casey was just trying to do a last ditch effort to get her rose. But like at the end of the day, I think he also was like, Peter, she needs to know that Peter said this. And it's like, okay. But I think the biggest issue is it was like, I'm pretty sure it was clear that Brittany wasn't giving Peter the rose. Just get through the rose ceremony, let him leave without all this drama. She's gonna see it on the TV when it aired anyway. I don't know why Casey felt the need to do that. And I felt like he also just was like saying that Andrew should handle it. And not for nothing, Andrew, and I don't know what provoked this, but I did notice Andrew posted something on his story yesterday on Instagram. And he was basically saying about how like he wasn't going to do that and cause like a whole thing, because it's not like he didn't prioritize her his relationship with Brittany to like stand up for her. It's just that you know, I mean, I don't want to, it was gone when I went back to like watch it again, but the bottom line is he's like, I don't want to start a confrontation on television because he's like, I coach at a high school, I think it's a high school, for like football players, for like young kids. He's like, that causes repercussions for my family and the kids that I'm a mentor to and I'm a coach to, and I don't want to put them in an you know, this position that they're associated with me. So like, I agree. Like even Andrew was telling Brittany, like, leave it alone. And I don't think he was mad at her or whatever. I think he was just trying to give her a suggestion, because we obviously saw what happened and it went like super nuts. So I don't think Andrew was in the wrong for not saying or doing anything. And I don't really think that it seemed like he didn't care. So I guess some people might have been saying that, but I don't feel that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, Casey should have just left it alone. Honestly, I really think so. And I think it kind of unfortunately like bit Casey in the butt too. But yeah, I mean, basically, I'll just finish this and then give me more of your thoughts. So like, yeah, the things that Peter said after the fact were absolute garbage. I was disgusted by the things coming out of his mouth. I don't even want to repeat them on here.
Me neither.
And then it's like Jill and Brittany went down to the beach to tell him to leave, and he didn't want to leave. But then Peter was like, I'm not leaving because of you, I'm leaving because of me, because the guys went down there. And then, you know, Casey passed out, and he definitely wasn't doing it intentionally. I think he just, I don't know, maybe he didn't anticipate that it would escalate that badly. And I think he just had like a nervous situation. But apparently he hasn't been able to walk in like 4.5 months since he fell, because I think he broke like 3 bones in his ankle when he passed out.
Like, wow, that's crazy.
They were concerned about his head, and that's what, I don't remember who said it. I could lose track of which podcast episodes I listen to every day, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
I think it was Ben and Ashley did one. I don't think they had a guest on. I think they were just talking about what was happening. Or I forgot. No, was it? All right, whatever. Anyway, I listened to whatever podcast they posted today. And yeah, so they said he hasn't been able to walk for like 4.5 months. And I was like, wow. So
that's crazy.
I mean, I do feel bad he got hurt, because I don't think it was,
me too.
It wasn't like an attention grab. It was just, I think he also did just genuinely care about Brittany and wanted her to know what Peter said. But I was like, she's not going to give him the rose. Just let him go home and they'll air what he said.
Exactly.
Oh, it's just like so unnecessary.
Very frustrating, I know.
But whatever. I don't think that was producer manipulation, because I feel like, or maybe it was just like they just said it to Casey, and then Casey's like, yeah, but like, whatever. Anyway.
Exactly.
Enough with that whole thing. So, okay. Oh, and then, yeah, and when Peter left, he was like, buongiorno. Yeah. Like, the way he said it, and Jacob's like, why are you saying buongiorno? It's 11 p.m.
Yeah, that was so hilarious.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah. So do you want me to give my thoughts?
Yeah, go.
Okay, cool.
Any of your stuff on the whole Casey Brittany.
Okay, cool. Exactly. I know it's a whole mess. I actually had a few notes before that, so I can go through my notes before that, and then I'll kick it off after that. So I had said that it was interesting because they were kind of showing Michael talking about it was his first day, not with anybody, and he was kind of, obviously we'll get to that, but it doesn't happen for long. He's not like that for long. But he has kind of a talk with Wells, and Wells is always kind of the giver of good advice, which is awesome. And it definitely, all the couples that we've been seeing so far have been pretty much the same, and we kind of already all know that. It was funny to see the whole thing about with Shanae and the shrimp with James. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah. I forgot
And
about that, yeah.
again, they're bringing back Shanae and shrimp. I just thought it was funny how like the three things she had her try, you could tell even if you're blindfolded what they are because of the texture, because they all had the different things. You could tell it's a taco, you could tell it has something like the green.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny how it's like, oh, like when you're doing this, you can know what it is by the texture. But and of course she got all of them, and then she like threw her blindfold off. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then with I definitely, and now going back to the whole Casey, Brittany, Andrew thing, um, I definitely do feel like Brittany with Andrew telling Peter to like not really kind of get into it, or even whoever. I just feel like that whole situation was really not that necessary. I feel like they probably should have listened to Andrew.
Yeah.
I hate, again, the whole cloud chaser thing is just so annoying. But with them just trying to even accuse that, but it's just so annoying. But Andrew, like you had said, he didn't want didn't want her to talk to him. But again, if you just like, if she wanted to go talk to him, fine. But I do feel like it probably kind of stirred the pot a little bit, and like, because you know how Peter's going to react. So it's like it's not going to be the best. And then also with Casey, you can tell he's very opinionated. So then it's just like, obviously it was awful that he fell and passed out and stuff like that. But you could tell again, he was probably just like he wanted to get that rose. And you know that he's just very opinionated, especially when it comes to Peter, because you know he doesn't like Peter in the slightest. Like I had said, Casey is very opinionated. And I felt he said that he felt that the conversations were very one-sided. They didn't even show any of like the social media talk that she said. I guess that's the point. I don't know, but they never really even showed that last week. And I just thought, I don't know. I just thought it was so dumb. And like you had said, what Peter said was just so disgusting. I hated it. And then the whole Bongiorno thing when he walked out, I thought that was funny. Just by the way he said it, and then like he said it so loud, and then they all like looked at him and they're like, "Wow!" I just thought that was, oh my gosh. And
he plugged the name of his pizza restaurant before he left. I'm like,
no, he did. I'm like, come on, dude. I didn't. I kind of knew when he came on last week he was not going to last that long, but still, it was just like the whole situation was really dumb. Like if they want to talk it out, fine. But I just felt like it was just all so annoying. And and I did feel like Casey, like you said, even though I don't think he kind of knew how it was going to kind of unravel, I did think he
the
did
extent. Yeah,
exactly. I don't think he kind of realized the extent to it, like you said, what it was going to be like. But I definitely do think he started the drama because he kept saying all the stuff about Peter, and it was like, oh, he sucks, he's all this. And I just feel like if he didn't say anything, then we wouldn't have had this situation. But that's just my thought on it.
Yeah. Well, he's living with that.
Exactly.
Right now. So it's like, you know what? I mean, we don't wish it on him, but karma's a Anyway, okay, yeah. So I think you were kind of segueing into what I was going to go into next anyway. So yeah, so Danielle Maltby enters. I do think that like her and Michael would be a good match. I think the whole elephant in the room is everybody. Okay, so Sierra had like tweeted that she just felt very disrespected by this whole situation, and I think I saw somebody on Twitter was like, you can be sad for Sierra but happy for Michael and Danielle at the same time. But then everybody apparently like blew up on this person, and I think it's just a little more than that, just that statement. I love Michael, but I do think what he said to Sierra kind of made it seem like he wasn't ready for a relationship. And I don't want to say he just flat out lied, but like he kind of looked like he flat out lied to Sierra of why he wasn't interested in her. And instead of being honest of like, I just don't see it with you, he basically was like, I don't see it now because of this, that, and the other thing. And then literally like a day or two later, then Danielle comes.
She shows up.
And he's like, all fine.
It's all fine. Yeah.
And I don't like how he treated Sierra.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him with Danielle. I think they're a good fit. But I do feel for Sierra because that was just not right. And that it's like upsetting because like I said, I like Michael, but I don't like that. Not a great look for my guy here. And it's just like, it seems like, oh, was this just like set up so that way, like, okay, well now you're gonna bring in the person that you wanted to bring here for Michael, because it's like you're giving him such like this golden boy edit, and like you're not even like addressing the fact that it's like, yeah, the way that oh, it's like, oh, we feel bad for Sierra and Sierra left, but it's like, no, like he kind of lied to her.
No, exactly.
And maybe it was just because he didn't know the words to say, but like, I mean, I think there's a factor of that too, whereas like Danielle is somebody that will understand some of these things, but like Sierra was totally making an effort to understand.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I totally agree. And the thing is with, like you said, they're giving him such a good edit. As I've noticed, especially, I know we're going to get into this later, but it's like, okay, well, maybe Sierra is not your person, fine. But again, he just like, the way he kind of went about it was not really, it seemed like it wasn't the reason he let her go. And didn't want to be with her, especially the fact that when Danielle comes along, it's such a perfect fit. They both, like, again, we'll get into kind of the details, but they both lost their significant other, so they have that connect and bond, and then they don't take part in the switch up week. So then I know we'll get to that too. And people were kind of angry about that. They're like, well, you're not even. He doesn't even get to participate when everybody else is participating in. Like, I just find it really interesting.
She was like a new person on the beach, and then
exactly. Yeah,
it's fine. I mean,
but I agree with you. I do like him and Danielle together. We will get into their date and stuff like that, but I just wish the whole Sierra thing was a little bit kind of handled better.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think I just like, if they do like an after paradise thing, like final rose paradise thing, I hope he owns up to it.
Apparently, apparently they know each other from, like, they never met in person, but they talked. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and they were super honest about that. Like, that wasn't a concern at all. And I remember like Danielle again, Wells talks about somebody and doesn't talk about the fact that he kissed them.
Yep.
So him and Danielle knew each other like previously, and so there was one season where she was on Paradise and like it didn't go well. This was like right before I think Wells started dating Sarah. So like Wells was bartending already, and so like she was going to leave to the car, and then he went to go give her a kiss before she got in the car, and then everybody thought they were going to start dating, but then I think it was like within those like next few months then he started dating Sarah. But like I know like Wells and Danielle are really good friends, and I think like genuinely her and Michael could be a good fit, and I don't want to like jump on that whole situation. And I think it's like, look, Michael's been through enough. Like, he doesn't need to go through the split week. Like, she just got there. It's fine. Exactly. I mean, it's like, they're giving it, and I think everybody kind of is, that's there. I think it's more the audience that's more irritated with it.
That's what I've noticed.
Like, understandably, I think it's
exactly. Totally agree.
It just shows that sometimes they pick their favorites, but we knew that. We
already know that.
I mean, they talk more like, because they didn't go on the date yet. They just swoop her in at the 11th hour or the 1 a.m. hour, which is almost what it is right now, because apparently they do these rose ceremonies at like 3 a.m. or 4:30 in the morning. So anyway,
do you want me to go list off the people?
You can do that.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. If that, do you have anything else about?
No, that was the next thing I was going to do.
Okay, cool.
So you go.
And so instead of 5 people going home, it's 2 now, just because of people eliminating and all the craziness that happened. So there's a few like obvious choices and a few like surprises, but we got Serena and Brandon, Jill Jacob, Lace and Rodney, Genevieve and Aaron, Shanae and Logan.
Shocked about.
Exactly.
I thought she was gonna pick James.
I thought she was gonna pick James too. I was like, especially since she was really hyping up James, and I was like, wow, okay. And then Victoria, Johnny, Brittany, Andrew, and Danielle and Michael. And then James and Justin go home. It was sad to see them both go home.
Yeah.
And it's like, it didn't seem like they had that many connections, at least formed. Obviously.
Well, James and Aaron have a connection.
Exactly. But with Justin and James, I could see why they were home. It's definitely sad, but like you said, I'm surprised about Shanae picking with Logan instead of James. Like, they were hyping it up. It was really going to be James, but okay. And so that's what happened on the rose ceremony, and then they pick up the next day.
Jacob staring into the distance.
Jacob was staring in the distance, yeah, which is really funny. And they're like, "What is he doing?" And then he's just like, "That was so hilarious."
Yeah, and then Brandon comes in with the date card for Danielle. She obviously asks Michael. They go on the date on the yacht. I guess it was a yacht.
Yeah,
whatever type of boat type thing.
Type of boat.
And then everybody on the beach was like, they showed them all talking about Michael like positively while they were on the date. So like again, they're hyping up Michael, which like it's fine, but like
we love Michael, but we know,
but we don't like how he treated Sierra.
No,
anyway,
exactly right.
The conversation did seem to go very well. I mean, they had like the really long conversation. They kissed, and then that was like, okay, this is all the happy before now the insanity.
Exactly, but it was so interesting to me because, again, I thought, especially, I completely agree with you said 100%, where their connection seemed really good and their conversation seemed to go well because they were very vulnerable with each other about the losses of their significant others and how that they still feel the effect of it to this day. Understandably, I can't even imagine how hard that is, especially when Danielle said that, like, with her fiance, she was like there trying to save him and like couldn't, and that's probably like so traumatic. I just can't even believe, or I can't even imagine how bad, like, scary that is, and then upsetting. But it was interesting because he had said he didn't want to rush anything, which is interesting to me, but then it seemed like it kind of seemed to progress pretty well with both of them to where he was very happy.
Well, I think he meant specifically he didn't want to rush it to like they're in paradise to try to be like getting to a point that they're engaged. So I think that's what he meant per se, or even just like leaving in like a fully committed relationship. But
I completely
think, and look, and just to justify, I think is like just describing that, I think the point was that like I can understand why he felt the way he felt about Sierra, because I think she was just like, she was in a stage where she like wants to be in a committed relationship. She wants to do that. I think she was willing to be patient with him. But I think if he's just like more hesitant about being in that like totally like locked in state, I think that's where that was like freaking him out a bit with where she was at, and I don't think he was going to get there on the same timeline. Exactly. So like, I think whereas Danielle like is kind of in that same position herself.
Yeah, I really agree.
So it's not like it's a conversation; it's just kind of how it is, and I think that's just who he needs to be with, and like
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Is that
I should have said that.
No, exactly. Totally agree. No, 100%, completely agree. And they both said that they were cautious going into relationships from their experiences, and that's totally understandable. And I definitely think, and this is again, I obviously with the whole Sierra situation, I definitely wish Michael would have handled it better because she really was so committed to him. I just wish he was a little bit more kind of upfront with her about it. But I do think Danielle and Michael together are the right pairing because I really, with their experiences that they've had, it really helps them understand each other and relate to each other. So I think that's kind of the more upside to their relationship rather than Sierra. In terms of like they can relate to that and like maybe the struggles they've gone through and how kind of like coming back to a relationship and kind of how that is for them. I think that's very important, and I think that shows kind of, like I was saying, they're understanding this of each other, and I think that's one of the reasons they're a good fit for each other.
100%.
So that's all I had on that.
I mean that was like the last like positive thing. So then Jesse comes in.
Oh, here he comes
to split everybody up. Did you have anything else before that?
Oh, yeah, I did, but I just I know I didn't want to stop you, but I just had one little point that I thought was funny. I forgot who Victoria was talking to. I think it might have been Shanae, but like they had like a clip of Victoria talking to Shanae, and she was talking about how like, oh, the best date you can go to is a theme park and all that. And the reason I thought that was funny was because that was the first date she did on Peter's season, was they went to that theme park, I think.
Oh, that's right.
I thought that was funny, where like the whole Chase Rice thing happened, and then like he's saying in front, I was like, oh, Chase Rice and Victoria used to date and all that crap. But
imagine just going on a date on The Bachelor and you go, your first one-on-one with the guy is to see a concert of your ex-boyfriend.
No, and that was so funny. And even though it was a few years ago, it was so hilarious because I know that was like one of the best moments, I think, just kind of comedy wise on that show or on the previous seasons. And I like how, just going back to that season for a minute, it was so funny how Chase Rice was like standing there and he was like, how you guys feeling? And then Peter was like, yeah, let's go. And I love how Peter, like in the ITM, I remember was like, oh, Chase Rice could play out our wedding and something like that. And I was like, that's so funny.
Like,
and also I thought
he will not be.
no, I know, probably exactly. But I thought it was really a funny thing where I saw just one more thing on the whole situation. I thought it was funny where there were jokes. There were jokes being made that I saw where like I guess she had told them that whole thing eventually, and then they had like that cello player outside, and it's like, would it be funny if he asked if she dated him too, and so yeah, just throw back for a minute, but I just thought that was funny how she was talking about the theme park thing, and that was her first date on the show on Peter's season, so I was like, that's kind of ironic. But yes, now again, like you said, we're preparing for the switch up week and how the relationships are and stuff.
Yeah. So like, oh my gosh, so Jesse comes in to split them all up. Jill had a really hard time. Oh, she's gonna have an even harder time. Oh, it was a nightmare. And then yeah, so I mean they kind of just like ended the clip on like the other girls entered, and then that was like, and then the other girls were gonna go start packing up. So I don't know, do you remember everybody's names?
Yeah. I got Sarah, Jasenia, Kate, Eliza, and Florence. And Florence, I guess, is the one from Bachelor Australia. I think.
Yeah, they got an Australian girl and an Australian guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they have history. That will be interesting when they reunite them.
That would be cool. Exactly. I know we'll get more into the details of this, but I just have one opinion on it. I said this, I don't really like the concept. I know it's probably very like, I feel very forced and producer manipulated to me, because you know how they can get all these storylines out of this one point. It's like, oh, okay, well, we have this switch up week. Well, you know the girls that are leaving are going to be upset, so you get all the footage of that. Then you get the new girls coming in, they're like, oh, we're so happy. And then the guys are awkward at first, and then they're like, oh, we're excited and everything. And it's just, everything is just like, they have so much content they can use from this. But like you were talking about with Gabby and Rachel's season, I don't think they have the mental well-being of the contestants like kind of at the forefront of the conversation. And I think this is evidence of that. And I just don't really like the concept. That's just my opinion on it.
No, I mean, I think like from a show perspective, I think it's fine, like, but... yeah, it's like whatever. I think there's this other show that they were trying to make like a copy or something. Yeah. I think what Ashley kind of made a point in the podcast that I listened to today was like, I don't like how they like presented the girls like pieces of meat, like like here are your new selections, like
exactly.
You know, and that was a thing which I agree with. I mean, I would have been more irritated with it if they didn't bring in guys for the girls.
Oh yeah,
because that was just like, okay, like let me, like, we got to even the playing field here.
Exactly.
Like, come on. I mean, I think it's in the whole scope of things, it's kind of just like, I think like I obviously feel for Jill, because like as we see throughout the episode, like Jacob forms a connection with Kate, and like, you know, it's gonna wreck Jill. And then obviously we see with like Lace and Rodney's whole situation, but like in some ways it's like, I mean, I obviously feel for how the girls are feeling, but it's like they're better off knowing now.
Mm-hmm. No,
and that's totally. It's the thing, like if that's how easily they're gonna be swayed, they're better off knowing now. Exactly. And that's the thing, like I think it's like you do need to have the relationship tested, and I think it's just like, it's just, I don't know, it's like I hate it because like that's the thing with the mental well-being, like it's just like it's very hard on the girls, but it's I don't know, I don't feel like I fully condone it, because it's like it's a little bit like messed up, but I don't know, we'll see how it plays out. I don't know if they'll ever do it again.
No, I know exactly.
Because I think it's like also if they expect it, then it's like it's not as much of a thing. But
yeah, exactly.
I think
but they know it's like, oh, it's new. Then of course they're going to be upset. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is just kind of what the show is like, and who knows? Then next year they might just do something different to try to like mess with their heads. Like they're always doing something with it to mess with their heads. But I mean, and I think it's like you're going on a dating show. Like there's other shows that the whole premise of the show is like something bizarre like this anyway. So it's like this is only a portion of it. But I think the funniest part was like about this whole thing was there was that TikTok or reel or whatever that Brandon posted about the as long as we're gonna get it, as long as we're gonna get it back, as long as we're gonna get it back. And I'm laughing. I'm like, Brandon is the only guy, and him and Serena are the only two that can get through this week.
No, I know exactly.
Like completely, hopefully unscathed.
Hands down.
Hopefully there's no issue.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's like whatever, but I think it's just like okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, so
that's all I had on this episode.
Yeah, the last thing was just the end clip with Victoria watching Johnny fail at surfing.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
She's just like, come on, get one.
Yep.
That was funny. Okay, so it goes right into the next episode. The girls are getting shipped off to the hotel. Yeah, that's what I was like. Serene is the only one that kind of is like unfazed by this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they show back that the guys are having a pool party with new women, and then Jacob and Kate kiss, and he was the one that definitely initiated it. And she said, "I will take a crab and ride it off into the ocean before I leave this beach."
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, that is a strong statement, Kate. And then statement. And then Rodney and Eliza kiss, and listen, Kate and Jacob, I don't think they're long lasting, but they're gonna be together with this situation. Rodney and Eliza, I do feel a little more like long-term connection there. Obviously feel for Lace, obviously feel for Jill. I'm mostly sad that I was like had higher hopes for Jacob, and then he did this. Like Rodney, I kind of was like, what, I don't know. I just like, it is what it is. The next episode's gonna obviously be very telling, but I don't know what your thoughts are on some of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And the thing, I thought there was so much foreshadowing in the second episode, especially in the fact where like they were driving to the hotel, the girls, and they had like this like weird, like there was this like so quiet, and then they like edited it back to them like having fun on the beach. I just thought that was like really interesting. And then and obviously the girls get to the hotel and everything like that. I agree about the whole, I know we'll get into the dates and stuff like that, but I actually see Eliza being a better fit to Rodney than Lace, in my opinion. That's just me. Yeah. But again, I think that's the only one. And then also, like you said, with Brandon and Serena, I think that's probably the only relationship I could see kind of lasting at this point. And I think it's gonna be a crazy, wild episode that's 2 weeks because of this. Yeah. That's pretty much all I had on it. I thought it was interesting, and then like I said, when they showed up to the resort, that's when we get the "F you, Jesse Palmer."
Now we know. Now we finally know. No.
We finally know why that was said, because they showed it during the finale, and I was like, okay, but so that's pretty much all I had on the situation. The new girls seem like they like the guys so far. It must be a weird situation to where, like, even though it's only been 2 weeks, it must be weird, like the guys to be. You could see they kind of were having that feeling out process. They were like, oh, let's have some fun. But then, like, when the girls kind of opened up a little bit more, they opened up a little bit more too. Yeah, it just seemed like it was just interesting. It seemed like and then I have another comment kind of before we get back to like all the date stuff, is that the girls were sitting in the hotel quietly and kind of talking about, I was like, well, it's kind of nice here. And it had like this like weird elevator music playing in the background while they were like talking. And I thought this was really funny because it was like showcasing the awkwardness that was there. And I just thought that was really, it was fitting. I mean,
they could probably, they probably, it does them good to get some air conditioning, honestly.
Exactly.
Oh, and like bathrooms and like better like water and everything. But so finally the guys show up at the estates for the women, because like we kind of knew that this was coming. And it was okay, hold on, it was Olu, let's see if I can remember. It was Olu, Rick, Tyler,
Alex,
and Adam was then from Bachelor Australia. So and Adam's occupation, did you see how it said Thor's body double?
Yeah, I know. And then like they changed it again, and it's like, no, really, he is.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So I don't know. It might be true.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think that's just like they're just joking. So I mean, because that's the thing, we don't watch Bachelor Australia, so we have no background on these guys. Yeah. Or the girl. So they also had a pool party. And so then this is where with my notes, it was just like back and forth. So like they go back to the beach, and then Jasenia's talking to Andrew, and Andrew really doesn't seem to want to like hurt Brittany and like or just get involved with Jasenia, and Jasenia is really trying to like push it. And Andrew just like keeps trying to divert attention. He's just like watching the animals. The Brandon walks by, he's like, "Hey Brandon," and then Brandon's like, it's just like, and I just and he's just like, "Oh, well, it's not you, it's me."
I know, it's like, yeah, exactly.
It's funny because I say that line in other contexts and people always make fun of me because of it, but that's a whole other story. And like Andrew was just trying to focus on Brittany, and then they the editing. Then they go to the estates, and then Tyler and Brittany are kissing.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
I just love how it's like back at the hotel, and it's just like, of course, they cut to them kissing. Of course.
Gosh, yeah. So it's like, I mean, and it's not that Brittany doesn't care about Andrew's relationship. I think it's just like they were kind of mostly newly formed, and I mean, I trust Andrew and Brittany enough that like even if they do explore other relationships, they're going to be respectful enough to each other. At the end of the day, like I don't think it's going to be like this big drawn out like insanity like it is going to be for some of these other couples. So yeah, I mean that was that, and then so then I guess because I'm just like going through my notes. So like Michael and Danielle are Michael and Danielle. It's almost 1 a.m. right now.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just like, so Michael and Danielle are together now, which we kind of knew that. So like they're just off doing their thing.
They're off doing their own thing.
At one point, I thought Michael left. I was like, wait, what?
No, I know exactly.
Like when we were showing the previews, I'm like, did Michael go home? Like that's the thing. They didn't even.
No, I didn't even say it. What else? I going back to like kind of like a section of the episode before.
Yeah.
Like right before they went to commercial, on one of the things I was like, oh my gosh, that scream that Jill gave was like really funny to me. It was like showing her not upset or showing her upset, and we already knew that she wasn't going to take the switch up well.
Yeah.
So then that happened, and then I have like we were talking about Aaron and Rodney like Eliza, and then Rodney and Eliza talk, and they're very happy, which obviously, like you said, that seems to have been going well. And then yeah, that's pretty much all I have on that. Oh, and then Shanae with Tyler, that's what I have.
Well, that was the next thing. So Shanae gets a date card, and she asks Tyler, and he immediately says yes, and then they like cut to Brittany's face, and she's like, "What?" Yeah. Okay. Obviously, we like Shanae more now.
Yes.
But I'm so surprised about her and Tyler.
Like, I know, me too.
Really? I mean, he immediately said yes to, like, he did not hesitate. And the date, all right, well, then that's the thing. He keeps going back and forth. Exactly. We'll just go to, no, I'm going to try to stay in order because they keep going back and forth and it drives me nuts. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I don't know, was this before? Yeah, it was. It was just that I was saying that this was like a funny moment, that this guy's synchronized swimming thing was really, that was awesome. And I thought that was everything. And then again, like you said, with Michael and Danielle, it's just kind of everything was going well for them. And then, yeah, I agree with you with the whole like Shanae and Tyler thing. It was like really this weird how just how quickly she changed from Logan. It's just like, oh, I'm going in with Tyler now. It's just like, and then Jill and Genevieve talk, and then they aren't happy, which we kind of expect with this whole situation. And then yeah, that's pretty much all I have, because like I said, it's with Shanae and Tyler's date.
Yeah,
the next thing I have.
Yeah, okay, so then the next thing I had
thing.
What?
Oh, I was saying the Shanae and Tyler thing. Was that the next thing you had, the date?
Oh no, so I was gonna jump back because then they kept going to different clips on the Jacob and Kate were on the beach.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Talking like, and he's like, do I think Jill is my person? I don't think so. And I was like, hey, caramba, this is going to be a mess, because they're juxtaposing it with showing clips of Jill freaking out, and she's like playing with the crystals, and like that's, I'm like, girl, you gotta cleanse those crystals, okay? If you need any context, I got you, okay? Because I'm sure she did, or chucked them in the ocean or something.
This is gonna be a crazy thing.
Oh, so anyway, so they do that part, and then they had a clip of Aaron talking to Danielle about Genevieve, and I thought it was nice because like you know, like I think he said something like, I don't know why I wrote, I'm being a great dude, like, or something. Did he say that? Did I
That sounds familiar.
I think he might, I don't know. Honestly, I I mean, I think Genevieve and Aaron got to a certain enough point that I think they were kind of like, no, I'm going to commit to this. So like Genevieve's like freaking out, and I was like, you actually don't need to worry about Aaron, because not for nothing, I was like, Danielle's taken. Kate's talking to Logan. Kate's talking to Jacob. He already knows Jasenia from like previous season. And like, I don't, yeah, I mean, I think Aaron and Genevieve were fine. So like, I thought it was nice that he was talking to Danielle and like just all that. So, yeah. So I think that was good. And then we finally get to Shanae and Tyler's date.
Yes.
Okay, so Shanae and Tyler's date, they go on a date
Hot
to
yoga.
do, well, tantric yoga.
Tantric yoga. Specifically.
Calling it hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
But it was just, yeah. So she's like, he has 8 abs, I think.
And then I do like the split screen box of all. That was really funny. Yep.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
He winks at her while they are doing this. I would have died. I would have actually died. He's hilarious. They talk later. I mean, they seem to have a pretty good connection. I mean, like, obviously some of the previews later on seems to be that he goes back to Brittany. But like, I think I was like shocked that they were having this conversation.
I know.
And they went like, in the, then they went in the pool, and so that was the thing. So like at back at the beach, Sarah got the date card and asked Logan. So like, since Logan and Shanae were connected, they obviously have to do the editing together.
Yes.
I thought it was, that's what I had about the guys goofing off in the pool at the beach. I think it was that. I don't know if it was that or whatever they were doing. I think they were like racing or something.
Oh yeah, I think
that
so.
was the other thing.
No, I know, that was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
With the tantric yoga, it seemed like they were both comfortable with it, and they were both good. Like they didn't seem which was good. And again, Logan, and of course, like you said with the editing, they show Logan saying he's confused, and then obviously when Shanae's all over, like Tyler's all over Shanae and everything, is just like, well, like of course they have to do the editing like that, and so I thought it was really interesting.
And then it was like they were both getting into the water in their respective dates at the same time.
Yes.
But yeah, they had the thing with like they were showing the guys like at the goofing off at the pool, like whatever on the beach,
like the
and then the guys and then the guys at the estate, it's like crickets.
Yes.
It's just so like, oh my gosh. But Logan and Sarah's date, they were riding the horses and then they went swimming. I don't feel like they showed like too much like conversation. Do you remember that, or did I totally miss that?
He was saying that what I have here is that he said he doesn't want to mess up the relationship with Shanae, but I think he's like open to exploring new things. But I think he said he did want to explore this relationship with Shanae still, which obviously we kind of see with Shanae. She doesn't feel the same way. And wow, like her ties change pretty quickly. And I guess the back and forth is really funny. They've been like kind of like really good about this season.
Yeah.
And they've been on previous seasons too, where just like they just go back and forth on the editing, and like the people are doing the same exact thing like that they're talking about. So it like really illustrates really well. So that's all I had. But that's what I said. I think Sarah seemed very just like respectful and was like, I don't want you to kind of ruin anything with Shanae, but like but I'm here to find somebody and stuff like that. So
it's like don't mess don't jerk her around because of Shanae. And I don't think it's that Shanae's like, I don't know. I mean, I think I would personally have a hard time like doing that, but I think and Andrew kind of said like he didn't like how Shanae said that she was like juggling the guys.
Right.
Yeah, because like Andrew clearly said that in one of the clips that they had of the conversation. And I think the point was though, like, I don't know, in some ways I feel like Shanae's take on it is like you're here to explore different relationships, and I think it's just, but like you have to be talking to the guys and that are like kind of in that same boat. So like I feel like Logan's kind of in that same boat. I felt like James wasn't so much like, and I think that was kind of the situation of like, I mean, Tyler's just like there. So like I feel like if Tyler starts to talk to Brittany, I mean, Shanae might be like bummed about it, but I don't think it's gonna be. I don't know. The previews of her when like returning to the beach with Logan, it looks like there's going to be a bit of a hot mess. So I don't know.
So that's all I think like that. And the next thing I have is Jasenia and Andrew with their little mini dinner date. And I thought that was really cute. She brought like they had like the heart-shaped pizza and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I said that I really think that they vibe very well. And I actually can see Andrew with Jasenia better than Brittany to me. At least I feel like that connection's a little bit better. I don't know. Like it's weird to me. It just seems more comfortable. I don't know.
In that clip, I just felt like it was a little bit forced because I don't know. I just feel like
I could see that.
Jasenia was like really trying to convince him. And like I don't know what other conversations they had that they didn't air. I mean, obviously the first conversation that we talked about earlier when like Brandon was walking by. Because like I think Andrew just wants to make sure he does right by Brittany, because if they had the clip for him, he's like, I'm like a one girl type of guy. Like if I'm gonna be in this position that I'm in a more like trying to be more in a relationship, I want to be committing. And he's like, and I feel like Brittany's the same way. And then that's what I think they said. And they showed her kissing Tyler, but like, you know, I think it's whatever. I think it's them both being respectful with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I don't know. I mean, I like Jasenia. I was surprised that they did kiss after the conversation, because I don't know. I felt like the conversation was a little forced. I felt like it was more like relaxed, and I think he was like opening up to it and like, all right, I'll just try it out.
Yeah. Especially since it's under that waterfall.
Oh yeah, that too. I was like, I don't know. I'll have to see. Time will tell. I can't really say I see him better with Jasenia now versus Brittany. So I don't know.
To see, like you said.
But it's also like, do I see Brittany more with Andrew, or do I see Brittany more with Tyler? So like, I also need to make that decision too.
Yeah, you gotta wait and see. Right.
It's not my decision. It's my opinion. But yeah.
And that's all I had on that.
Well, then they go back to Shanae.
Yeah, back to Shanae. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we go back to Shanae, and I was like, man, she's really into Tyler, and she's like really getting like expressive about how she's like really wants him and everything like that, and then being very descriptive about it. And then no, go ahead.
The boom boom room, and then
I know. And of course, here comes
Jill.
Yeah.
Over to talk and ruins it, and everybody's like, girl, read the room. Like, was she not? I mean, whatever. Like, it seemed like Tyler was being like supportive of her with the conversation and whatever, because like he obviously knows Jacob because of the previous season. So whatever. And then I don't know. Then eventually
that was all. Yeah.
They said in the talk block room after.
I love how she exactly. Like looked at the camera. That was so fun. And then she like jumped on the bed, and it was like really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was interesting. We'll see how that goes.
And then who did the toast? I didn't write who wrote it, but somebody did the toast. They were like, may the best days of your past be the worst to come. And I was laughing because that was the same thing that Jason's dad said. Gabby's hometown date with his. I was like, is this?
I was like, that's
phrase? I don't remember who said it.
Oh, I think it was Michael. I thought it was Michael.
Yes, it was on the beach. Okay, yes. I didn't write that. I need to be more descriptive.
I in my notes. But when he said that, I was like, wait a minute, that's Jason's dad. He said the same thing. Like that's funny.
I was like, what? I mean, it was like phrased a little differently, but it was the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
And then
Rodney gets.
Before we get into Rodney, is there anything else?
That's all.
Kind of the end of the episode. Okay, so so Rodney definitely has seemed to move on and not
he's pretty smitten with Eliza.
And not be thinking about Lace. And I like Eliza. So he gets a date card, he takes Eliza, they seem cute together. And then of course, and the date seems to go great. Like
that tiki hut thing was really cool, and they had a good connection, everything like that.
Wait, did they kiss? I don't know. Oh
yes, they did
earlier in the they kissed earlier in the episode anyway. So and then of course Lace wants to go see Rodney, and that's when like Wells talked about the thing with like Hurricane Lace. Because I forgot exactly what happened, but it was like a previous season of Paradise when she got all angry and this whole thing. But anyway, so she shows up, they're still gone on the date. The guys are not answering the questions well, and like to her, because they're like, oh, like all dodgy and whatever. And then he's like walking back in, and then Rodney and her are about to go talk, and then it's like and then they stop. Anyway, so I think that there was the clip that somebody also put, and then there was like Lace was there, and then Brandon turned around and his eyes were like bulging out of his head, and they were like the moment that Brandon realized Hurricane Lace was about to hit.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah. So I don't know.
This is gonna be crazy next week.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Me
I
too.
feel bad for Lace, but like, I think like copying what like Ashley said in the podcast episode that I listened to today. I think she just kind of said like, you know, like good for Lace, because I think she's kind of at the point of like, look, I don't have a good feeling about this. I'm gonna go. I want to give an answer because if he's with somebody else, I'm leaving.
You
And
know
I
what?
think that's her whole thing.
Yeah.
Like good for her, because
Good
I
for her,
think
yeah.
that's the best thing she could do for herself and for her mental health, honestly, because like we're talking about this whole thing.
But if
and I
he's in,
think-
but if he's in the Eliza, then like you can't like it would be forced if
Yeah.
he was like lying to himself about that. So
Yeah. Well, what Ashley kind of said is hypothesizing, and she's like, well, Lace didn't take a bag. She just went to the beach. So what's going to end up happening is if she goes and talks to Rodney and then figures out what's going on, then basically then she's going to go back to the States and then tell the girls that she's packing up her stuff, and then Jill's going to start freaking out, and then some of the rest of them are going to start
Yep.
freaking out because they're going to try to pump her for like all the information she was able to get while she was there. And it's going to be like mass chaos and hysteria, at least for like a handful of them. Yeah, so
this week was crazy.
yeah, the previews look insane. I just wonder because it's 2 episodes next week, and it looked like there's still a lot of more because they said a week that they were going to be separated a whole week, and in Paradise Time that's a lot of time. So I'm wondering, are they going to get put back together by the end of the episodes next week? And I'm wondering when they bring them back, are the guys going to have the roses, and are like the new guys and the old guys going to have the roses?
If I had to hypothesize, I would think, just based on the previews and just what I'm thinking, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes like the switch up week kind of still goes through the first half of the episode, the first episode next week. And then like again, kind of the cliffhanger from the first episode is gonna be the last 15 minutes is them going back to the beach, and then all of the whole second episode is about that whole thing. That's what I'm thinking. We'll
because I think they show Brittany and Tyler reconnecting. They also show Victoria going on a date with Alex. So I'm assuming that somebody else is going to get a date card on the beach, and I'm wondering who it's going to be.
Exactly. This was a crazy week.
Maybe it's maybe it's going to be Jacob and Kate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or is it going to be? Or it's going to be Johnny, because they might try to put Johnny on the.
No, you know what?
No, I'm saying they're going to try to put Johnny on the spot.
That would be interesting.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Well, this was a crazy 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Get even crazier next week.
Yeah, that's funny. That's not like, oh no, I think I'm looking it up. That's like a phrase. It's a phrase. A person who is at hand whenever needed. They're gonna put Johnny on the spot.
You know what?
I'm cracking up. I think there's also some porta potty companies named Johnny on the spot. Anyway, just cracked myself up. It is after 1 a.m. So this is
we're
hilarious.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All I had was about the previews and then the French fries, and then I had some other non-Paradise related things I wanted to say. But do you have anything else?
That's pretty much it, besides like what you were gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know, they had the end clip of the French fries, and they were talking about crispy French fries versus soggy French fries, and it was very awkward conversation.
Very weird.
Anyway, okay, so last 2 things I just wanted to discuss real quick before you close us up on our super, super long episode. So okay, 2 things. One thing I did notice on Instagram, I don't know why I didn't notice it when he initially posted it, but I did notice, I guess a few days ago, Andrew S's grandmother passed away. And he put like a little clip. The reason I even realized that my attention was drawn to the post was apparently people were posting like horrible comments on the comment of that video about like other things. And he was just like, I can't believe people are even posting this type of garbage like on the post of like my memory of my grandmother. And I feel so bad for him in that moment too, because it's just like, people, like, what are you doing? Like, I know people aren't gonna like him or whatever, but it's just like,
have at least some decency. Yeah.
No, I know. And I really feel bad for him. So I mean, I don't think he's watching, but like my condolences to him. And I just like didn't even know what to say on the comment, because I was like thinking of commenting something, but but no, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, me too.
And then, but you know, it looked like his grandmother lived a very long, wonderful life. So
Exactly.
you know, that was good to. I mean, it's sad, but it's good to see that she
They had a lot of memories
made so
together.
many years. Yeah, she made it so many years together, and they had a lot of memories. So, and then the last thing is,
Oh yeah.
so the long-awaited interview that Tino did with Nick Viall. And I mean, I know Rachel did a recent episode with Caitlin that I have not listened to yet. I have to go back and listen to that. But I think you listened to the whole episode with Tino and Nick. Yeah, I thought it went well. I thought it was a great interview. Nick did a great job. And I hope Rachel, because inevitably I feel like she's going to hear it at some point. I hope she feels like he did a good enough job of trying to be respectful of her, owning up to his mistakes and just like and everything, and just like reflecting it accurately. I think the general gist of it was, I think it's just that Tino was clearly has dealt with some other issues of his own that he's needed to work through, and like the whole situation post show, and it just was like a perfect storm to trigger all of his issues. I mean, naturally, that's just how life works, you know. And I think that unfortunately, like, because he was not in a great state and he was not seeking, well, I guess that's what he said. He was talking to a therapist that the show connected him with, but he's recently gone to start seeing another therapist that is like disconnected from the show, but which I think was a great move on his part.
Totally, exactly, hands down.
It's also hard because it's like, yeah, because it's like if you're going to a therapist like while you're on the show, you're gonna also kind of associate that one with the show. Like it's you know, it's the same thing. Like when I started therapy, I was doing it with like the employee assistance program with work, and you know, I only had a few sessions with that person, but it's like I'm still associating them with work. So like now I'm talking to another therapist, so that's different. But I think it's just I think that was a good move on his part. I think he's genuinely taking good steps to care for himself and his mental health and his just dealing with situations in his life. I think the biggest thing with kissing the girl was, as he put it, I think was just he just was in a moment of weakness and he messed up, and he fully admits to that. And I think he just withheld it from Rachel for a while because he was just obviously felt guilty about it. And I think then he thought that hopefully they could work through it, and like Rachel was like, I can't. And I think he took enough responsibility, and I think he did really praise Rachel for how much she did do to help him cope with a lot of his issues. But like, she's not his therapist, she was his fiance, you know. So I think it's just clear that the relationship wasn't right. I feel bad it happened to Rachel. I mean, I feel bad for Tino in the sense only that it took him so long, and it had to get so bad for him to realize he needed help, or more help than he was getting. But I'm proud of him for being honest and owning up to it and getting the help he needs. So, and it's just like, it's just so much more than we got from the show. And like, even like Avon and him talked after the show, and he was like, you know, I'm sorry, like I didn't know, and blah blah blah. And like, I think he just talked about how he like perceived it, like he knew Avon didn't mean to do that, and that's how the show did. And the show just really, yeah, it was the editing and the production of the show. And I think it's just like I got nervous that it was gonna make me think worse of Rachel, because I felt like that was what we got nervous that Tino was going to try to do. And I actually think I felt better about Rachel after this, because I don't know. Anyway, those are like basically all of my thoughts. I'm glad I feel like I have a little, not that I need it, but I feel like I have more closure about the whole situation.
Me too. Exactly.
So what were your thoughts on that?
No, I totally agree with you. And again, going back to the whole like production of the show and thing like that, like obviously at the finale in AFR this year, a month ago or whatever, you could tell with the whole Avon and Tino thing, like you could tell that was just not like we talked about, the show doesn't take an account into like the mental well-being into account of these people, which is like really sad to see, or at least like that's not the most important thing, obviously, to them. And I think Nick is such a good interviewer because he really kind of lets the person talk and like kind of he really listens. He doesn't kind of try to like blame them or kind of like shame them at something. He's like really understanding of them. And I agree with you about I'm really happy that he's getting the help that he needs, and that I definitely agree that I'm glad that he's able to own up and kind of admit, hey, kissing this girl was not good, and I own up to it and all that stuff like that. I just really wish it could have done. I really wish that the show could have gone about it in a better way than trying to like make him like everybody hate him. Obviously, that's going to be the narrative of the show. Fine, but like I just feel like, again, with all this whole kind of like mental health kind of importance and stuff like that, underneath all this, that's the most important thing. And I'm glad that we're actually able to finally see kind of his true story and hear like what he's been going through. Because if he didn't do this interview, we would have had no idea about this and kind of just had the same perception from AFR. So I'm very happy that he did this. And again, like we've talked about, Nick has done many of these kind of interviews before, and I really think that he gets a lot out of these people. Like I had said, he makes them feel very comfortable. He doesn't just kind of sit there and just start blasting them and hey, well, like, admit to this, and like he's like really, he's awesome.
Nick's been there before. He was not. I mean,
right.
That's what he always says. He's like, everybody comes up to me and they're like, I used to not like you. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't used to like him because of the situation that happened with Andy's season. Andy's season. Like, I didn't like it, but like, whatever. You know, I mean, that was just totally how the show portrayed. Well, it was what he said too, and how he acted. But like, you know, in hindsight, he knew he messed up. He said those things out of his own insecurity and whatever. And it's like the same thing. Like, I don't. You know, I think that's the point. Is I'm just glad that the whole community of the people that have been on the show have really created more of like an atmosphere where the people that come off the show have a platform to speak on, and there's enough. I mean, look, you're going to have a ton of people that don't care. They're not going to listen to the podcast. They don't really care. But at least for the people that are truly invested in like actually learning about the people, there's a platform for them to speak. Like, and Caitlin and Nick, who historically have had some beef, but they're fine now. Like, they honestly, I mean, Ashley and Ben do a great job of it too, on just like I feel like they do it kind of in a more like matter of fact type way, but I feel like the really like hard hitting questions are like Nick and Caitlin are doing like individually on their podcast. I think they're doing a great job. Like, I didn't get to listen to the Clayton and Susie one yet. I'm like,
no,
I need to me too, maybe whenever we get to that, I'll bring it up. Did you listen to that?
No, I haven't yet, and I still have to listen to the one with Rachel with Caitlin too. I haven't listened
that too.
But I hope, again, going back to this whole situation, I really hope that Caitlin, not Caitlin. I really hope that Rachel. I hope this all can be resolved, because obviously, and it's understandable with the whole cheating thing and stuff like that. It's understandable, but
like why Rachel what happened,
why it happened, and Rachel at least has some kind of like anger or being upset at Tino. That's fine, but I really hope, kind of after hearing his side and maybe seeing kind of him being a little bit more honest and stuff like that, everybody can kind of be a little bit more understanding of this situation and of him. So I'm hoping, like you said, Ava and him have talked, and like he has more of an understanding of that, and they are getting along and stuff like that. So my hope is that, again, just with all this understanding, it can kind of be a little bit more of a positive situation, even though it wasn't the greatest situation overall. But at least since there's more understanding now, it's like, okay, this is why it happened. Here's how I've learned from it, stuff like that. So I think overall, it was a great. This produced a really good outcome for the understanding of this whole situation. It wasn't like so now we have more clarity of why this happened, and like, and we can figure out and feel like a little bit more again, just more understanding of Tino.
And they didn't talk about the specific details of like the other issues that they had, so I thought it was great that, you know, he obviously respected that.
I agree.
And I support Rachel for breaking up with him.
Me too.
For the situation and moving on, as hard as it was. I think she made the right decision, because I know that I couldn't live with knowing that somebody had done that. I mean, I think it's just like, you know, he'll end up with, and he even said like it wasn't even fair to the other girl, that because it's like she didn't deserve to get brought into this whole situation either. So you know, I think that's the thing, is just like he will find somebody else down the line. and it will be fine.
It will
And
work out
Rachel
for
will find
everybody.
somebody
Exactly.
else, and it will be fine.
It'll be
So,
fine. Exactly.
Rooting for both of them individually.
Yes, right, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we have concluded our really long episode. Did you have anything else? Otherwise,
That's it. That's it.
maybe
If you
we'll
have,
wrap us up.
if you're still watching, thank you very much, because it's we're going on 1:21 in the morning right now. We started like at 10:30, so it's been a long episode.
Yeah.
But hopefully it won't be as long future weeks if we don't have 2 episodes of Dancing with the Stars. But thank you guys for bearing with us, and we hope you enjoyed. So thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit the post notification bell just so it lets you guys know when we post a new episode or any new content. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. And if you could, please follow us on Instagram at Ballrooms and Bachelors. And if you want to follow us also on our personal Instagrams, those personal Instagrams they are linked at the top of the bio of our main Ballrooms and Bachelors Instagram page, in the bio of that page, or at the end of this end screen of this episode. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Bye.